Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio Live, the only show that when there's a big-time stardom show at the morning, ends it with a nice glass of Cabernet Sauvignon, a nice glass of agua, and enjoy ourselves for a good old classic Ring Post Radio Nights. I didn't even play the Ring Post Radio Nights music. We'll do that in the background. Welcome, everybody, to a nice classic Ring Post Radio Nights, where I'm wine drunk already, and Scotty is set to retire. So we're gonna pour one out for our boy today as he retires from competition. He's got a salmon jacket on. He's here. He's ready. He's ready. It's the end of it.
If I had a salmon jacket, I would have wore it.
I knew for a fact you would have worn it too.
But yes, I am here. I'm kind of tired, not too tired, but kind of tired. You know, it's been a long long 24 hours. I slept a little bit in there, but woo boy, what a 24 hours it's been. I'm here for Ring Post Radio
Nights.
and I'll probably get fired up eventually. I'm still trying to get myself into the show part of this. I think this is the latest we've ever started.
Yeah, Ring Post Radio Nights typically, maybe we do like at 7 usually or something.
Yeah, but you said 8, so here we are at 7:59.
I thought you said 8 originally.
I didn't I? Could have been 7.
We
Anyways, we're here. It's nights.
I like how you and I don't remember who started the conversation of doing it at 8.
No.
We just happened to stroll on
No,
into 8
because
o'clock.
what we typically do is just say yes, and that is it. I got a lot of things to do in the next 24 hours as well, but this is my first stop. My first stop on the retirement road here.
Yes.
Tomorrow is my official retirement. Pretty exciting. I'll give my speech later tonight.
Yeah. Well,
emotional time in the building.
Yeah,
and,
it's the start of your Keiji Muto Himeka style retirement road.
Yeah, it's been a long road. I mean, I've extended it pretty long. My retirement road started with the bleakest of hopes that a certain Mercedes Moné would take her talents away from the old WWE Federation, and here we are now. And not only has she done that, she's wrestled 3 times outside of that company.
Mm-hmm.
She's walked away with a boulder on her head, because ouch. And I've walked away with a happy heart.
Yeah.
So it was a great run, folks. You know, some people were telling me not to go, but
times are changing.
It's time. It's time. Almost time. It's almost time to go.
Is putting your glasses on part of your retirement speech? Because if so, I need to prepare that CSI Miami. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna do the speech yet. We're saving speech till later.
Perfect.
Because we have more important things to talk about right now. Of course, you went to GCW. I believe the show was called Into the Light, live from Atlanta.
Why are we? I thought you were joking, so you were start off the program with it.
No, I wasn't joking. The people want to know how GCW was. The people are here. I pumped the show up. I said we're gonna talk All-Star Greg, Queendom, and CM Punk, and it was all a ruse. We're actually gonna talk GCW first. So anyone that might be listening live now, they're gone.
We are trying to get listeners, Scotty, and you're
come back in like 5 to 10 minutes.
No, don't leave. Don't tell people to actively leave.
Sorry. I know big GCW fans are listening. Obviously,
the GCW plants out there. The
GCW. I don't know the people that like subpar things.
The game changers out there.
The game changers. So the game changers out there. Ryan's gonna walk us through it here. I know he's excited. The fact he went to a GCW show is
okay.
Shocking.
Well, let me explain myself. I don't have a big history of like going to independent wrestling shows and being like.
He's been to a collective, so
I did go to the collective 2020. I drove to Indianapolis.
Not helping your cause.
I went to Terminus twice.
Here's to you.
I went to Terminus twice.
Jesus.
Remember Terminus? Atlanta doesn't get like a lot of. I don't know. They're independent wrestling promotions in Atlanta. I don't know. The
Have you considered? Hear me out here. When AEW comes to Atlanta, have you considered just going to those instead?
I have gone to those as well. I went to State Farm for the Atlanta show that Cody jumped off. State Farm Arena.
Jared works.
I went where the State Farm Arena when Cody jumped off the steel cage. I went to, I think it was in Conyers actually, where Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho had that shark cage match that did not go well. That was kind of a stinker. I did that. I've been to WWE Day 1 when Roman day of and hours before was like, oh, I got COVID. And everyone's like, uh-oh. I went to that. I also went to GCW Into the Light. I don't understand why we were kicking off the show with that, but just like Game Changer Wrestling, the podcast run sheet is changing once again, folks.
Yeah. So like the last wrestling show I've been to live, was I think it was AEW. No, it wasn't. It was stupid fucking Survivor Series. Never mind.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you're about to go.
It was actually.
I think if I'm not mistaken, the next show you are probably going to attend live is the NXT, not Spring Break-In. What's the one after that? The one going head to head against AEW?
I have a fun story for folks. And this fun story is tickets are already 35% off, and I'm still not going to go. Over my dead body, am I going to spend? It's probably going to be cheaper for me to go to NXT than it would be to buy AEW on pay-per-view, and I'm still going to buy AEW on pay-per-view and then record after the show because I'm here for the people. Just kidding. I'm retiring. I'm not going to be there. Idiots.
We're already getting people in the chat congratulating you. We got Kyle saying, congrats on your retirement, Scott. Excited for the show. And then we have Sajizzle, I believe that's how it's pronounced, on a bullet train in Japan, still basking in the glow of Yokohama Arena last night. Congrats, Scott, on your dream coming true. So we already got the praise coming in to Scotty already.
I'm emotional, but we have to talk about GCW first.
I you could have retired and not talked about GCW, but instead you chose to talk about GCW.
It felt more important. I have to be here till the very end.
God,
I have to be here till the very end.
But know that this wasn't.
So let me map it out for the folks at home.
Sure.
I'm taking over this show.
Yeah, please.
I'm leading this show. It's my final show.
It's your final show. You have
to. What day did this show happen on? Friday?
Friday, yes.
Atlanta, Georgia. Center stage. Lots of matches. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I think it was 9, right? 10?
10 matches.
I don't remember that.
10. Like
good old
John Spears.
Yeah.
So, instead of talking about the whole show, because I truly don't give a shit about most of these matches, what was the experience seeing Vikingo live and in person? And what was the experience overall seeing GCW?
I 100% went there to see Vikingo live because I saw that. So you also have to remember when I'm on Twitter seeing Vikingo announced for this GCW show in Atlanta, right? Shout out to Toy Story. Shout out to Woody.
It's just Woody.
I see they announced Vikingo, and then I think a couple weeks later they announced Vikingo versus Commander, right? And I'm like, oh hot damn, this should be a great match. Then Ring of Honor announces Commander and Vikingo for their show. Then they have that match. Then they wrestle at AAA, and I'm like, all right, baby, strap in. I'm hyped. I'm excited. I'm doing my babyface fire. I'm ready. Seeing him live was fantastic. Seeing Commander alive. Seeing him live was fantastic. Vikingo 100% has like a presence with the crowd, and it was great to see. The crowd was like, it was like watching like in Yokohama Arena almost, where it's like the crowd was like quiet up until like the spot was done, and then they like erupted. You know what I mean? Like it was like respectful watching. You could hear pin drop, but then like, holy shit, this is awesome.
You heard it here first, folks. Atlanta fans, pretty much like Japanese fans.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, he was fantastic. He did a lot of great moves, a lot of cool stuff. Good lucha. Jessie, my fiance, who I was with, loved seeing him as well. She thought he was fantastic. GCW as a whole, they kept it moving, man. There was like, GCW is this weird thing where it's like they keep the show moving, but every match is like a little bit too long. So it's just like you're like, all right, next match, and then you sit there for like 20 minutes during a Tony Deppen match, and you're like pulling your hair out, being like, come on, man, go to the finish.
I learned that match was 14 minutes long.
That was the 6th longest match of the night of 10 matches, and it felt forever. That was the match that you could feel the length, and it was the 6th longest. Mike
Jackson wrestled for 14 minutes.
Yes, Jesse really enjoyed Mike Jackson. The crowd was really into action Mike Jackson. And that match was longer than the Tony Depp and Brian Keith match, which felt forever. But the Action Mike Jackson Blake Christian match was well worked and it was actually really good. It was actually a pretty good match. I'm trying to think what else is. Oh, so you might have seen that GIF online as well. There is the GIF of the opening 8-man where 3 guys, Hunter Drake, Mr. Danger, who I'm pretty sure is AR Fox trained because he did a lot of shit that was like AR Foxy, and I was like, this guy is 100% probably trained from him. He's a local talent. He's probably at WWE 4, whatever it is, A4. And our boy Teriyaki climbed the like you can see this gift somewhere online, Scotty. They basically climbed the top of like the entrances to the arena. Basically, there's like that. In like any arena, it's like there's the stairs that go down and then they go into like the tunnel area. You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
They're at the top of it. Hunter Drake jumps on top of like Bobby Flacco and jumps on top of where the other two guys are, catches them, and does a double Spanish fly off of the top of that tunnel onto a crowd of people. And I was right next to that spot. I'm in the GIF that's probably online somewhere. You can see me in a blue hoodie freaking out. It was so ill-advised and so insane to see right next to me. It was unbelievable. That was a great spot. So shout out to those guys who are 100% young talent that they're okay. They're definitely learning, I think, but that was a good spot. I'm trying to think what else was good. The tag match.
Tag title match.
The tag title match was fantastic, Scotty. 100% recommended to you.
All right, give me the stars.
I think I went 3 3/4.
It's pretty good.
Jordan, and here's the thing: Nick Wayne, 4th best guy in that match.
Wow.
Which was
you heard it here first.
Upsetting.
Ryan prefers Jordan Oliver over everyone.
That was upsetting for me to have, but he just wasn't like it was crazy because GCW, like every single person does like the same heel shtick of like flipping off the crowd and doing everything. And JD Drake and Anthony Henry do the same sort of thing, but they don't do like chicken shit stuff that like Matt Cardona does or anyone else does. They're like aggressive about it. They're flipping people off or whatnot, but they're super aggressive. They 100% had a presence. They were fantastic. Anthony Henry and JD Drake were a fantastic tag team, and Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne totally held their own. That was 100% the match I would recommend. Vikingo Commander, 100% recommend that as well. Mike Bailey versus Alex Zane was also really good. I would recommend that if you want a really good, solid match.
I don't.
Overall, you don't want a really good, solid match?
I saw it was 17 minutes.
No. It's long as hell, but it was, and you could definitely, certain point, there was a point in that match where Jesse, I'm like thinking to myself, this match is long, and Jesse, as I'm thinking that, Jesse turns to me and says, this match is long, huh? And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty long.
Never ending. So that's pro wrestling, folks. Some matches don't go long enough. You know what I'm talking about. And other matches go too long.
Yeah.
It's very if you get in that sweet spot, but the sweet spot you don't really know until the match starts what the sweet spot should be. I can tell you right now, Mike Bailey versus Alex Zane, the sweet spot ain't 17 minutes.
No, and that could have definitely trimmed like 3 minutes off. That was pretty good action. They were going nonstop, but they definitely could have shaved some time off it. Overall, I would say pretty decent show. They had some replacement talent, some replacement matches that were okay, and pretty decent show. Nothing. There was only one match that I hated, not like hated, but like I did not care for.
You don't have to say it. Say it.
It was the Erie.
Wait, let me guess it.
I already said it.
It was the Effie match.
No. Actually, that was fun. For what it was, because it was a clash of styles, and that it worked.
Was it the Matt Cardona match?
No, that was well worked. I think that was fine.
Figured it out.
Which one was it?
The second match of the show.
Oh, which was that Adam Priest, Brogan Finley? No, that was fine. That was totally fine. The match that I did not like, that apparently Cage Matchers liked, was Irie versus Cole Radrick.
I wouldn't say Cage Match liked it. They got a 6.6.
Oh, I went 1.75.
I like Irie.
I like Irie too. I like Irie too, but it was a Cole Radrick match. Does that make sense? Anyways,
we move on.
Let's move on to where people actually came for, Scotty. And that was All-Star, Grand, not Dream, Grand, Queendom. And I'll say this, Scotty. This was a grand show. This was a grand royal show. I thought this show, top to bottom, didn't see the pre-show. Who gives a shit about the pre-show? I thought the show, top to bottom, was really, really good. It was really, really good. Top 4 or 5 matches. Fantastic. I know you love this show. I mean, why do I have to ask? But tell me about it. What do you think of the overall show?
Okay, I'll start my my long talk here. For a show that was billed as the biggest show of all time in Star.
And it 100% was based on attendance and I imagine subscriptions and pay-per-view
Yes,
buys.
they broke their record. They brought in English commentary. Shout out to Chris Charlton, Sonny Gutierrez, and Mariah May.
Who was
I thought they
fantastic.
did a great job. It was originally Momo Kogo, but she unfortunately got injured on the pre-show, so Mariah May stepped up. She did a really good job. So shout out to all three of them. I thought they did great. I thought Chris Charlton actually had the best night of calling in his life.
Yeah.
Truly. Like, he did phenomenal as play-by-play. Sonny and his knowledge from Stardom obviously worked out really well to add certain tidbits in there. And whenever they have a next major show, I hope this is the team. The wrestler can, of course, switch in and out, but I thought Mariah May did a good job.
I'm looking up what the actual attendance number is because I don't remember off the top of my head.
5,539.
Perfect.
So biggest show ever in terms of Stardom only. You don't we're not counting historic crossover.
No.
And you needed pretty much, like, you didn't need everything to hit because that's asking for a lot. You didn't need everything to hit. However, you essentially had everything hit. And I think that's an accomplishment to all the wrestlers, from whether they're on the Stardom roster or outside of Stardom. It's an accomplishment to what this roster has been able to become. And I said this last night going to the show. This show was going to be the next reset, the end of the latest chapter in Stardom. We had All-Star Dream Cinderella in 2021. That was a chapter of the book. Kind of bringing us from the brutal days that were 2020 and reigniting the fire, kind of telling you this is now Stardom, we're going up, to now you have this biggest show ever, and it's undeniably they are not only the number 2 promotion in Japan, but they are truly a major promotion that everyone needs to be paying attention to. They're the best women's wrestling promotion since All Japan Women's. That wasn't a question before. But it was a very special show. It's not so shockingly my show of the year. I don't see anything beating it, mostly because I don't know if there'll be any card where pretty much every match hits just the top level. Even some matches that were maybe not to the level of expectance, they still were so great that it didn't matter. And I think that's, again, a credit to the show and a credit to kind of the matches they had on the card, because if everything somehow hit the highest gear, it would have been like not even believable. And it's impossible for everything to hit the highest gear because it's one match after another match after another match. They did an incredible job for like 5 hours. The show was, and we have a complete reset of Stardom in terms of champions and everything. It is a surreal world in the world of Stardom right now.
And by reset, you of course mean restart. I should clarify.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, attendance figures. The Yokohama Arena is a new arena, right? It was built during the Olympics, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's a different arena. Yokohama Arena was the same arena that Dream Slam happened in. You're thinking of, what's the arena? I know which one you're talking about. That Ariake?
I don't see Dream Slam on this cage match events database. I think you're thinking of the wrong one.
No, look up the show Dream Slam. It happened there 30 years ago.
Oh, 30 years ago? All right.
Yeah.
Well, then who gives a shit about 30 years ago?
But my point is, it's not new. It happened at the Yokohama Arena. Then Dream Slam 1.
Dream Slam 1. Yokohama Arena. All right. That was not 20.
Get dunked on.
Don't how dare you dunk me?
Get dunked on. No, you came from
But it hasn't had wrestling matches in several years, and I think that was because of the Olympics, I have to imagine.
It had 3 shows there this year.
Well, yeah, I'm at post Olympics. Anyways, who gives a shit?
Oh, yeah. Either way,
God.
I was right.
No.
They had a show there last year.
Okay, I was getting to that. I was getting to the most recent stuff to compare.
But yeah, it wasn't there for a while.
It did the third best. It wasn't like it didn't. The number there. I think the record recently is like 8,000. I believe it was for New Japan Wrestle Kingdom. I think I pulled it away because now I got mad about it. Who gives a shit? I'm done talking attendance. It did really well. It broke the second. It broke the record by like 7 people compared to the Stardom and Noah show, the second show that happened in Yokohama Arena earlier this year.
New Japan and Noah show.
Yes.
You said Stardom and Noah.
Okay, fuck you. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I've had enough of you. I've had enough of this nonsense.
Kishimoto versus Tam. It would have been incredible.
Let's move on. Yeah, so that's pretty big for them. Obviously, it's attendance numbers, so you always, I don't know how truthful they are, but it looked full. It looked full as much as you could see the audience. It looked very full for what it was.
Yeah. Trent, who of course is my co-host on Stardom Road, was there.
Mm-hmm.
He said they were filled to the tippity top. They just had COVID spacing.
Yeah, because the first New Japan Noah show did like 7,700 in that arena, which they COVID wasn't as big of. No, COVID was still around, I think.
When? COVID's been around forever at this point. So
I've had enough of attendance.
You're right.
It's
you don't have to tell me twice. I hate talking attendance. Yeah. They did the best that Stardom's ever done. There's your attendance talk.
Yes, and I imagine pay-per-view buys will be the same. I imagine pay-per-view buys, this will be the biggest show they've ever had. I can totally see why if I was Rossi, if I was Stardom, if I was Bushiroad, you expand that contract with one Mercedes Moné. Because 100%, not saying that she was the main draw here, but I would argue that she was a huge draw, a huge international draw for this promotion. So 100%, you extend that contract if you can, and I think this pay-per-view 100% did that. So let's talk about the show itself. We'll start off here with the tag team match. Starlight Kid and Mei Sarah defeat Azumi and Mei Suruga. What do you think about this tag team match? This quick little high-speed tag team match here, Scotty.
Exactly how you kick off a show.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly how you kick off the show. If you have new fans turning this on, right, at say whether they watched it live or after the fact, you have them turn it on and you need to bring them in, right? Because it's like Mercedes is later in the night. Mercedes got moved to second to last, of course.
Yeah.
You got to lock them in. You go high speed nonsense for 10 minutes and you don't look back. Azumi was obviously incredible. But Mei Sarah, for someone who didn't wrestle for a year and 8 months, essentially, unbelievable. She was able to walk in there and do all that. Sunny added, actually, which I think was an interesting point, that she's been backstage pretty much for the past 6 months with Stardom.
Really?
So obviously this was coming together for a while, and she's probably been training for a while, because you don't go in there, do a high speed match like she did here and do anything but deliver. And I thought she did a great job. And she got the win over Azumi, which I said she probably would.
Yeah, it was a classic high speed tag title match here. They were moving, they were grooving, they were all over the place. Mei Sarah looked good. I was kind of upset seeing a Starlight Kid and an Azumi in this spot just because it's like of how great they've been. I would have loved to see a high speed title defense as well in this show. But I got a tag match out of here, and we saw more of Mei Sarah and Mei Suruga. And they're obviously trying to get as many eyes on this product for this show as possible. So, throw in some more outside talent. I don't think Mei Sarah and Mei Suruga are going to be a huge draw, but hey, you pull a couple Choco Pro fans in here. Yeah, sure.
We're making some AEW people too.
Exactly.
Suruga.
That's true. That's 100% true. And they're like, okay,
it's
cool.
Obviously a little thing, but it is something.
It's a good move. It was a good move to start off. And it's a hot tag to start off a show. Another match totally devised to bring in more eyes. Tag team match here. Utami Hayashishita and Miyu Amasaki defeat the team of Hazuki and Fu-chan, making her second match second match debut ever in Stardom. I thought that this match was pretty good. I wasn't like, I am not, how do I say this? Fu Chan, I didn't see the first match at, what was it? Cinderella? Not Cinderella, but it was, what was it?
5-star match? 5-star
Tag
DP?
League. It was a tag league match. It was a
Okay.
pre-show on night one of the tag league last year.
Sure.
I didn't see that match, but I heard everyone liked it. This match, seeing like, oh, people liked it. She seems pretty good. Okay, checking it out. I think for someone that was like new to seeing her, she's pretty good. I got like 100%. Like she has the limited move set. Like she's a young lioness, young lion thing. She had a good move set, or limited move set, I should say. She seemed fine. If she wants to continue, cool. But I'm like, oh yeah, cool. That was solid. Hazuki again, solid. Utami, solid. Mio Amasaki, solid. I would same thing with like Starlight Kid and Nazame. I can't wait. I want to see Utami Hayashishita go back and doing something. She hasn't done anything in a while. But minor complaints here. Just solid tag match to start off the show.
I think Fu is excellent for a celebrity who obviously we don't know her popularity to the full extent, but from what I've been told, it's very, very high. And anytime you get a celebrity like this willing to go out there and take the bumps that she did, like that lariat, for instance, from Utami or the German, you get a full on appreciation for her. And yeah, this was a spot kind of to keep Utami busy. I think by now everyone should be kind of used to Utami not having major spots just yet. I think the end of the year is really where she's going to heat up for the first time since being champion, based off of what has happened in this show. But yeah, it was a good tag match that fit on the show, had a celebrity, brought in eyes. It checked all the boxes for me.
Yeah, I mean, according to her YouTube channel, she has 1.01 million followers. So she's definitely popular, and in Japan, she's definitely popular. So yeah, 100%. I mean, you bring in that sort of talent. If she's interested in doing it, and Hazuki can train her, perfect. Get her in there. Why the hell not, folks? Next up, we had the singles match between Micah and Himeka. A sad ending, not really sad ending, a sort of bittersweet ending. This match I thought was, again, pretty good. And then the last final minutes there of like Micah and Himeka sort of breaking down, knowing that the finish is about to happen. Meika just bringing her back up after, I think, a Falcon Arrow or something, bringing her back up, yells into her, then does a shoot headbutt, which I was just like, holy shit, all right, Micah, okay, good way to end this. Hits her finisher and gets the win here. Sad to see Himeka's career end. You guys, speaking of you and Trent, for Stardom Road, had a great one-off sort of career retrospective of Himeka's career on Stardom Road, which I would definitely recommend for people to listen to. But I thought, again, a pretty good match. It wasn't like, I wasn't amazed by it, but I was like, this is a pretty good match. This was another good match on the path of great matches of the show.
Yeah, this was a match I think that really it hit a bit extra for the Himeka fans, especially because they really did roll out the red carpet for her till the very end. And for anyone that's really connected to the Himeka Micah relationship, I think you get an extra appreciation for it. I thought the finish and the emotional finish was great. And I thought it was a really good match. Probably for me, ultimately, like this I'll ultimately fall a little back on probably than I was during the show, because like the emotions have kind of gone away because they add up a bit. But once it ends and you're like, oh my god, but they did a really good job at ending Himeka's career and doing so in a way that felt right. So I'm happy for her, and it's one of her better singles matches of her career for me. I thought she had one of the best matches of her career actually a few weeks ago, which I'll probably talk about as my match of the week. But this was really, like I said, really solid, and good for both of them. Micah, it's Micah's time now. That was actually my biggest takeaway from this. I watched Micah win in such a dominant fashion in the end, and I said, All right, it's time to really run with her because she's the unquestioned number 2 now in DDM. I think a lot of people consider her the number 2 anyways over Jamaica, but now it's
I did for sure.
unquestioned. It's
Yeah,
time.
100%. I would love to see her. And I said this when we heard about the retirement tour starting and everything, was that, at the time I was like, yeah, I would hopefully see, this sort of break off that Micah can now shoot for the moon in her faction and shoot for the moon in the company. I mean, she is an easy challenger for the world title. I think she is a potential holder for the Wonder title. I think it's easily for her to just jump up into that spot. I think, especially with Mirai up there, I think it's a little can be a little crowded at times. But I think Micah can maybe
So crowded.
hopefully break through that noise.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I would love for her to do that. Jamaica, seeing her retired, sad to see her go. Hopefully she's retiring healthy. We never really got clarification on what happened with that, that I know about. But hopefully, hopefully she goes off into the sunset well, and maybe we'll see her again down the road. Who knows? It's wrestling after all. But yeah, solid talent. Bad to see her go, but glad she is not retiring out of injury or anything like that. She was able to have this tour and have it and end it on her terms. You always want to see a wrestler do that. Next match, the Goddesses of Stardom title match: Ami Sourei and Mirai versus Nanai Takahashi and Yu. The Mirai and Ami Sourei team win here. This win upset many a folk because it won by countout. Nanai Takahashi and Yu were out of the ring for however many seconds it was. Mirai and Ami Sourei got the win. What'd you think about this result? What'd you think about the match itself? I saw accusations of sandbagging. I saw accusations of not taking any bumps. I mean, comparatively, it is Yu. I mean, I don't necessarily blame Yu for not bumping. The girl is ginormous against Ami Sourei, who's not, that big. So, I don't know. What do you think about this whole match and the whole drama that's kind of unfolded from it?
It's not all that shocking. If you watch their match in Tag League, there seemed to be problems between these two teams, and the match ended. And well, yeah, you could think it was wrestling, but they seemed like not so happy with one another. And then there's also just the history that goes into these two. That I think everyone will point to Nanai because of her history, but I do think it actually is probably just as much Yu here. In terms of, she has so many titles and so many other promotions too that she probably isn't someone that wants to lose much either. And that's kind of the pickle you played yourself into here. Unlike Chihiro Hashimoto, I don't think you and I were as willing to play ball necessarily. And it stinks because this is Mirai's first title, and obviously she's the more so story of the match. But I'm just happy she's champion. This was the weakest match on the card. It was, for me, expected to be the weakest match on the card, truthfully. It was it was my least anticipated match. And it ended up being that. So I wasn't as drained as everyone else because I was like, whatever. The best parts of the match were Mirai and Nanai, and everything else is very forgettable.
Yeah, I mean, the only sort of surprise shock stuff to me is doing the title switch. Obviously, looking back on it, looking that every single title changed here on the show, not a huge surprise anymore. But at the time, I was just thinking in our preview, I said I don't know. I mean, Ami Sourei holds the Future of Stardom title. Mirai just won the Cinderella tournament. I don't know if they're going to do another title switch on top of that. Mirai would head into another match with the title. I feel like that might hurt her chances for that to win maybe another title. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's a huge push for both of them. Ami Sourei gets a push by getting the title win. Mirai gets a push by the Cinderella tournament. And now they win the tag titles together. This is a huge push for them. Now, does that push continue for Mirai to go for the Wonder or World or whatever she's picking? Maybe she's picking, I don't know, some other random match. The Artists of Stardom titles. I don't know.
She can pick whatever she wants.
She can pick whatever she wants. So Maybe maybe we'll get something else. Maybe she wins that. Does that hurt her push by going for something else? I don't know. Part of me thinks I don't know. I don't think they're gonna push her that hard to do all this stuff, but
Well,
I guess remains to be
they've
seen.
given her 2 Cinderellas.
Back-to-back Cinderellas at that. So I don't
Something
know.
that only Mayu could say she has. So
Oh, by the way, did you also feel like her outfit? By the way, Mirai was I don't know. It felt
I
similar to
loved her
Mayu.
Cinderella one. I didn't like this one.
This outfit felt similar to Mayu to me. I don't know if it felt that for you, but it sounds like not.
It was like the hairy,
Mhm.
like the hairy part of it.
Mhm.
I understood. I didn't really know what they were going for. I like her Cinderella one that she had last week, like the ash
Yeah.
ash type style thing that she was going for.
Mhm.
It was no matter what, Mariah's gonna keep getting pushed.
Yeah.
She's gonna be one of the top champions. She'll
Yes.
probably be the next person, truthfully, if it's not Utami, to win both of those titles at this point. I'd be shocked if she didn't, honestly.
You mean the Wonder or World?
Yeah. Well, there's only been 5 people to win both,
Mhm.
which we'll get to later. I wouldn't be shocked if she was one of those next people to potentially get both down the line somehow, just because of how hard the push has been this early. I still think she challenges for Wonder because I do think that a short Wonder reign is on our way
Mhm.
here, which is a good thing. I think it's more fitting for the story, but
And I don't necessarily think she is at a point where she can be a world champion holder. I honestly don't think that is. I think
I
that
thought
is
they were
pushing
going to
above
go
the
with
belt.
it if we got to the 5-star and Julie was still champion,
Okay.
because
Yep.
I thought they were going to use that to kind of lift her up another level, and then she won the Cinderella, so I said, we'll keep it Wonder for now.
Yeah, because if they did that, that would separate the push out a little bit more, and that would make it more believable.
Yes.
Doing it all
Yes.
right now, no.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is. I assume this is going to be at the
Flashing
Fuyoka.
champion. No, it'll be Flashing champion.
Okay.
Like last year. They
Oh,
skip
yes.
one.
Yes, you're right. They did do that.
Their next big show.
Mhm.
Fukuoka, I think, will be Natsupoi, actually, which would be really good,
Yeah.
obviously. They set that up like after their Cinderella match. They pretty much said, "Yeah, if you win,
Perfect.
I'm challenging," and it was
Perfect.
like, "Oh, all right, cool, sounds good." So I think that'll be maybe the Fukuoka main event.
Okay. Okay.
But unless Micah challenges in the next week or so,
But yeah.
she's from there.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I thought this match was fine. I don't think it was bad.
Yeah, it was
per se.
fine, and then ended like it did, and it's like,
Yeah, it's a wet fart of an ending just to have a title switch
Yeah.
on the count out. But
yeah, so many people were like so devastated. I was like, "Do you know what's the next 5 matches?" I'm not really that worried.
yeah, and also you have the whole energy of the show had that restart energy. All the titles are switching well, but I'm also looking at this. I'm like seeing a lot of the home team getting wins here. You know what I mean?
There was a lot, yeah. So after Stardom Dream Queendom, where a lot of the non-so home team won,
Mhm.
you got it all back in the home team. Now it's
Yep.
and Sayori New, who's kind of home team now. So.
Yeah, which we'll get to right now, which is the Artist of Stardom title match. Restart. Kairi, Natsupoi, and Sayori Yano defeat the team of Prominence, Suzu Suzuki, Risa Sera, and Haragi Kurumi. What do you think of this match?
I probably liked this match more than everyone else.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, it was pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, and I was
fine.
like, I remember reading that. I was like, did I watch something different? I was like in shock. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought that was legitimate. It might be my second favorite match of the show.
Damn.
I loved this match. I thought Kairi was excellent, kind of taking a lot of the work from Prominence.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought Sayori Anu was phenomenal with Suzu Suzuki in the closing minutes. I thought it was great. I legitimately thought this was a great trios match. I thought Restart kind of fit like a glove, and Chris Charlton told a really good story kind of throughout the match of how Kairi's a singles competitor, and it's kind of like how he tells a story with Okada and Tanahashi and how they need to figure out each other as a team because they're not a tag team. It's like once they embrace the tag team work, they got better and better as time went on. I loved this. I thought all three of Restart were great. Promise is obviously great. They just pack such a punch that no one else does. It is interesting. Pro Wrestling Wave announced their Catch the Wave tournament lineup, and Suzuki is not in it. Risa Sayre and Kurumi Hiragi are. So
Interesting.
I find that to be very interesting. Seeing she won the tournament last year. So I'm guessing she's gonna keep herself healthy maybe for another big run in Stardom. Probably with the 5-star. It's pretty separated because the 5-star as announced on the show don't start till July 23rd.
Yeah.
But that's what my guess is that she's keeping herself healthy. She's dealt with a couple injuries over the past year, so I think she's probably saving herself up for the next level in Stardom. Because I need her to, because if she's gone, I would be very sad, but she won't be. She can't be. They're
Yeah.
not just gonna be like, yeah, we're done with you now.
Yeah. And yeah, I think staying healthy for the 5-star is a good idea. I mean, that to me, if she's trying to stay healthy for the 5-star, that means to me that she's going to try and go out, if she's in the 5-star, go out and have a banger of a tournament. Last year she was pretty good, not as much of a banger as I really wanted to be, but it was. I'm really hoping if she goes out, she does have a banger of a tournament, and it gets competitive near the finals and whatnot. And by the way, in the chat as well, Kyle agreed. I agree. Scott was my second favorite match too. So Jizzle agreed. Scott, it was his third favorite match for him.
Yeah, I'm between second and third. I'm still trying to decide. I gotta. Admittedly, I have to rewatch a certain match that we're about to talk about next because I was very disconnected from it.
Oh, well, I'll tell you this much. This next match, the Wonder of Stardom title match, Mina Shirakawa and Saya Kamitani, this was my second favorite match of the night. I really liked this match.
People loved this match, so I'm not surprised.
I went 4 flat on it. I have always been, this, Saya Kamitani was my female wrestler of the year last year. I think she's fantastic. I'm not hugely invested in the loss of confidence storyline with the Phoenix Splash. I don't necessarily love storylines like that, but beyond that, I thought she worked well here. Mina Shirakawa, I think that I tweeted this out. I think the two of them have great chemistry. We saw in their first outing. We saw it again here. I thought that they did a great job of recapturing that sort of energy, that frenetic energy, that chemistry that he had in that last match that they had, and represented it here, and the crowd was fully on board with it here. I would have loved. Stardom doesn't do this, but if they did like a little blood capsule in Mina Shirakawa's mouth, just a little bit of that stuff, really bring it home with that energy here. I would have loved that. Make it more like babyface underdog Mina Shirakawa overcoming Saya. At a time where she can easily be overcome because she's having confidence issues with her finisher. I would have loved for that too, but that might be too heavy-handed. Either way, I thought this match was great. I thought Mina Shirakawa 100% held her own. I said years ago that she was really good, and people dunked on me for that take at the time. But I'm glad that this match was able to fulfill my biases.
Didn't immediately help you out after that take.
No.
She had like the biggest Wonder of Stardom stinker in years. Damn,
because she had a good 5-star Grand Prix, I believe, and then she had that stinker, and I was like, oh,
absolute stinker.
dang. But I was like,
she got hurt.
But I think at the time I was like, okay, stinker rematch. But I was also like, it's Tam. Tam has that ability to be like, okay, sometimes she's there for the match, sometimes she's not. So I was giving Mina a little bit of a pass.
No, it was absolutely Mina's fault. And that terrible bloody demon character that she came up with. I don't remember what it's called, but
that was that. That was I hated that too. But here, I thought this match was great. This was my second favorite match of the night. I thought Mina did a great job here. I don't know what her reign's gonna be. I agree that I don't think this reign could be that long. I think it obviously very much depends on which title Mirai goes after. If it's for the Wonder, I could see a title switch again. If it's for the World, I could see Mina holding it for a little while. Does she hold it by 5-star? I don't really think so. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think so. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on this match?
I mean, for me, it was tough to fully invest in it because there was never a second I thought she was losing. I think that's part of and that's why I probably need to go watch it back. I was also sitting. I forget what I was doing. but there was a reason I wasn't connected to like the first half of this match because I was actually doing something,
You were
and I was like,
preparing
oh,
your body and mind for Mercedes.
pretty
to
much,
win.
pretty much. It like the next two matches did suffer because
Mhm.
of that. I'm not gonna lie to you. But ultimately, like the closing stretch and like the last 5 minutes were really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason I do need to go back and watch it.
Kyle in the
Because I
chat
think
says that this was his favorite match, and Sajizzle says that in the arena the Phoenix Splash angle was huge, which I'm glad. I mean, I'm not
the
saying that
crowd
it
was
wasn't.
loud.
I'm not saying the crowd wasn't invested. Like I said, I think the chemistry is great, and I think the crowd's super invested. For me, I'm not huge into the angles like that, but I'm not saying that it didn't work because it 100% worked in the arena.
I think this is one of Stardom's best crowds ever in terms of noise. That isn't inside Cork and Hall.
Yeah.
Like their Cork and Hall crowds are incredible. This was like maybe their best non-Corking crowd I've heard.
Yeah.
So credit to really everyone in the building. They reacted very well, and Mina was maybe the most loudly cheered person of the night when she won.
Yeah. I
So,
totally 100% agree with that.
despite people thinking that they kind of botched this along the way, they knew what they were doing. She's still very over, and she'll be very over. And now she has the belt. She got her moment. She can lose at any time now.
It was all about the journey here, so I don't know how much.
Yeah, this was a chase
Yeah.
scenario. This was not a everything else. But nonetheless, from what I remember, and I do admittedly need to go watch this again before I talk about it tomorrow and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Because tomorrow is my official retirement, of course, because I signed myself up for other shows. I do need to rewatch it, but like they did such a great job at creating drama
Yeah.
towards the end, which I thought was like that's how you get me into it, and I think that's why I need to pay attention to the first part because maybe I liked it better than I thought.
I could totally see also like why they choose Mina Shirakawa as like weirdly she's becoming like the face of like the international market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She has the charisma. She has the crowd connection to follow it up, to back it up. And you're right. Like it is everyone thought that this was like a blowaway. Saya Kamatani was going to win it. We thought the same. We thought they botched the sort of story and that wasn't going to work. But we were foolish to think that Mina Shirakawa and Saya Kamatani, who had a previously great match, weren't going to be able to find that again. And Mina wasn't going to be able to get the crowd on her side as the underdog again.
Right.
She can do that. She can get the crowd into her despite that, which just, that being said, proved even more, yeah, she might actually be the right person for the international audience. If you're going to bring her over here, have her wrestle, I don't know, have her wrestle like Mercedes at Resurgence. You know what I mean? Like do it like put her on a big stage. I don't think that's going to be the match at all. But put her at the stage like that. I assume she'll
I don't
probably
think Mercedes
wrestle,
faces anyone from Stardom actually.
which is totally possible as well, and we'll find out in May. But I think she should work that show and some sort of, even if it was a pre-show thing. Get her in the States more. I would love to see that as well. Or at least get her in England maybe some more and have her team up with Mariah May in England on some sort of, I don't know, Rev Pro show, I guess. Or on a get her work in progress. It's clobber time, get her working on that show.
You're gonna get yourself killed.
But I think she can connect to the audience, and I think that is obviously very valuable to them right now. And I think that was the right choice to get more to the audience here. Next match was the knockout or submission only match. Shuri defeats Shirihiro Hashimoto, Big Hash. I thought this was everybody throwing bombs. I thought this was pretty good. And yeah, Big Hash. I want to see more of Big Hash. Shuri, I thought it was fantastic. Coming back from the, this felt like, oh yeah, we're dropping off of the world title program, but we're still going to be dropping bombs, killing people, folks. This is the Shuri I love, and I love seeing Big Hash, so I was really into this match as well.
Hell of a fight. Exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yes.
That's I think my best way. Like, if you want to talk about every match from this show, this probably lived up to like the exact expectations.
I was just about to say that.
Like, it was like, all right, we have this exact rule set. Let's use it and make it feel different from everything else. And that's what they did. Shuri's just unbelievable. Like, I watch her and I walk away every time saying like there is her transformation into like the final boss of Stardom,
Mhm.
even without having a title
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
is incredible. And I still think she's that Dominion challenger. I do.
Mm.
Um, but we'll wait and see. But no, this is great. And she did talk about after the match how she liked facing Hashimoto, and maybe they could do something again down the line, which is cool. Hashimoto's great, obviously. So
Yeah. Well,
it
let's
was a
talk
great
about that.
time.
Let's talk about that. This sort of title changes all abound here. This sort of all the home team winning, all the uh I don't want to say invaders because that's not what the angle is here. All the non-contracted talent, I guess. Um, all losing pretty much in their matches here. What do you think
Sure.
about that? Is that a sort of like, was that sort of idea part of like the Julia Rain sort of gimmick? And now that like, because that's how it sort of started, was this idea of like, her indie roots basically, and help her root into that, and that Suzuki feud was sort of built around that as well. And her, do you think that sort of, now that they're all lost here, we change all the titles and we have Tam going forward, do you think that is they're going to be using less non-contracted talent moving forward? Do you think nothing's going to really change, do you think they're going to have, I don't know, sign some of these people, or there's going to be more people? What do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, I think the goal was to build all these people up,
Mm-hmm.
kind of make this the night of Stardom
Yep.
by the end of it in the right way, and I think they did a great job at that. And I know some people were upset that certain wrestlers didn't make it high on the card because of that, but it led to the better, I think, show. Um, I think the mindset is that now that you've made all these relationships and you've given all these wrestlers such really great experiences overall, I think everyone's really, again, walked out of it looking better than they did before, maybe except for you and Nanai, and that's just because of how that ended. Some people will be a little soured, but I thought overall they had a great run.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you now create the idea that like anything's possible, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And I think in time we'll see these wrestlers continue to come in and out, just not as much. I think it's going to be kind of back to now Stardom's roster.
Yep.
And then maybe, I think like the usuals that you'll see pop up from time to time are the prominences and Saori Anu, who I think at this point probably have a more exclusive contract than we know of yet.
I would assume so. I assume that she's one of, I guess in that match it was sort of May Saruga and May Sarai. Oh no, not May Sarai.
May Sarah is locked.
Yeah, May
Yeah,
Sarai is locked.
she's on the roster
Anu
now.
won a title and defeated Prominence. I have to imagine that she's probably a
Yeah.
contracted talent.
I don't think she'll be exclusive yet, but I think we're working our way there. I think she's gonna have the Shuri contract when Shuri first joined
Mm-hmm.
before becoming exclusive.
Yeah.
And in time, I think that's a big deal. But yeah, I think it sets up for potential down the road, but now it's going to be back to being about the Stardom roster and about what they have, because they do have such a loaded roster. They don't need to play with all these outside folks, but that made this show that much grander
Sure.
because they did.
Sure. Would you like to see more of that sort of talent?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think now that you have this show behind you, like you do it in spurts. You don't do all of them at once
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I would do moving forward, because then it keeps everyone fresh, keeps everyone interesting when they show up,
Yeah.
um, as opposed to having right the past all out of these 6 matches we're just talked about here, title matches. 2 of them didn't involve some sort of outsider, and that were the top 2 title matches. So, like, in top Stardom title matches, I should say.
Yeah.
One during Worlds. So, um, they know what they were doing, and I think you create relationships that are very important now, and you probably do see some signings
That's what I was
more
about to
moving
say.
forward.
I imagine that there might be signings. I think a lot of it, as you said, of like seeing who has gotten over, who works with the
Mhm.
roster, who do you sign?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
who wants to put pen to paper?
Prominence made. herself a great heel or made themselves great heels,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm intrigued to see where that goes.
Same.
Because I fully believe Suzu has a big fat contract sitting on the door waiting for her to sign it the moment she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of her wanting to do her things. Like tomorrow, she's fighting June Kasai in Cork and Hall, so like there's still things she's trying to do, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a matter of time with some people.
Yeah.
The Saori and New gets like really one of the biggest gets they could have had, anyways.
Yeah.
Because of her popularity outside of Stardom, which
Mm-hmm.
is why it's not shocking that they've signed her. But it's weird. It's obviously weird because you had the Mayuki match, right? And now you have the 7 Up match and the way those two ended. Even though I thought the Mayuki one was good in terms of like the violence and the message they went with, but it did kind of hurt Julia's reign at the same time. So
We'll see
we'll
what
see.
happens. We'll see what happens. IWGP Women's Title Match. Mayu Iwatani defeats Mercedes Moné. 12 minutes and 56 seconds. Scotty, you have the floor.
The IWGP Women's Title is, we know what it is now. I think we've had enough matches to know what it is now. It is one, not the top title in Stardom, as it shouldn't be. Because like if it was ever going to main event a Stardom show, it was going to happen on this one, and it didn't, and rightfully so. It should not have. We know it's going to be a title that's about 10-15 minute matches, I think, moving forward, unless it's in the US and they have a little more leeway. But I think that may have been a more Mercedes thing. It's a title that still has IWGP attached to it, so it's going to matter to a lot of people, understandably so. But it's also a title that is, it's probably going to be Mercedes Moné's again somewhere down the line. I think that's kind of how I walked away from this. My only complaint about this match is I want it to be longer. That's it. And I don't usually say that. You don't usually say that, but I know we both agree on that. It should have been longer because these two beat the living hell out of each other for 12 minutes. And I don't think the end was as sudden as like some people are saying. They built it up to the end. They had like 4 or 5 minutes more that they could have really enhanced this match. Is it the greatest match of all time that I wanted it to be? No. Is it my match of the year? No. Was it still great? And do I think we're going to get another match between these two? Absolutely. That's kind of where I'm at. Like I walked away from this. I was like, oh, this is just the first match. And I think that's kind of what Mercedes said. She's like, she is going to wrestle at the Long Beach Resurgence show, and she's coming back for the IWGP Women's title. I think this was always agreed upon in her first contract. Hey, you're going to win here and you're going to lose to Mayu. And, if you re-up, then we have different conversations. She's re-up, folks. She's locked in. Japan is her home moving forward. I told you last week. I told everyone, F4W confirmed that she signed an extension. We don't know how long necessarily, but her first date was going to be US. We now know that's in May. She has a lot of matches she wants, but that IWGP title, that's going to be hers again. And I think she's going to get a healthier long reign. But for me, I'm happy Mayu gets her moment. The moment was so worth it. And I'm going to need to see these two again because they have so much greatness in them based off this first match and just like where they're willing to go. I like seriously believe Mercedes said, yeah, you can hit me as hard as you possibly want. And Maya was like, oh, I mean, okay. She had like an entire rock on her forehead. It looked brutal. I can't wait to see obviously what's next for Mayu. I think Mayu probably has a defense at Dominion and maybe she just faces Mercedes once, or maybe I would like her to get 2 defenses and then we roll back Mercedes. I'm guessing if the Mercedes Mayu match happens again, it'll probably be in the US that time around, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and I think Mercedes is locked in. She has way too much to do still.
Yeah.
And I think she knows that. I said when this was possible, she's gonna sign for how many ever dates. She's gonna get the bug, and then she's gonna stick. And then she has absolutely done that. She just signed with a marketing company in Japan, I think, like an agency or some sort that pretty much exclusively will market her and her stuff. So like, you don't do that unless you're gonna be in Japan for a long time. It's only the beginning, folks. It's only the beginning. Like this show was the end of a chapter for Stardom. This was the end of the first chapter for Mercedes in Japan, and I think that's very special. She's killing it.
She is. She is. I totally agree with what you said about the match being longer. Kyle in the chat also agrees that he wished the match was being longer. I feel like if you were saying, "Oh, 5 minutes got cut out of the match," I would say that those 5 minutes got cut off the beginning of the match, not the end of the match. If you know what I mean.
Right.
It felt like they got to like the middle
because they went right into it.
Yes, it felt like they got to like the middle section of the match in like minute 3. And I was like, "Oh man, I wish they stretched that section out a little longer or whatever." But beyond
it was the enhanced Kyrie and Tam match, really.
Yeah, yes,
that's what it was.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, I wish the match was totally longer, but I also think that's a great position for the two of them to be in. That every single person unanimously is saying, "Oh, that should have been longer." Basically saying, "I want to see more of this." Yeah. I want to see more of them wrestling. I think they'll get it. I think that, I think there's a chance that the Resurgence show, that is going to be the rematch against Mayu.
Very possible.
I think that is totally possible. I think, whether or not she wins it there is one thing. I know that the contract is sort of more so with like Bushiroad than Stardom, really. More so of New Japan than anything else.
Let me see the exact quote. I'll get you the exact quote of what she said. But continue.
But I think, I would love to see her expand away from the IWGP Women's title. I could totally see her, if she really wants to stay, go for a world title match. She has plenty of people I want to see her wrestle against. Julia, Tam, Starlight Kid. For 100% she'll wear that black tiger mask again. I want to see her against so many people on this roster.
Great look, by the way.
Great look. And she deserves to be in this. And I'm glad that she found her home. I do think that it's the thing of, I was thinking about that quote that Bailey had so many months ago, where she said that Mercedes has proved that you can make money outside of WWE, right? And everyone sort of like dogged on Bailey, right? Because it was like, oh, well, that's been proven many a times before. Cody Rhodes proved it. Drew McIntyre, to a certain extent, proved it. So many people have proven that you can make money outside of WWE at this point. But I think what Bailey was really trying to say there is that Mercedes has sort of proved that there is a pathway to make money as a female wrestler outside of WWE. And I think that she has proved that. She is not breaking the boundaries when it comes to like men's wrestling. She's breaking the boundaries when it comes to women's wrestling. And that is something you have to applaud.
And I think that overall becomes wrestling. Exactly.
Right. That becomes all this stuff. It plays all into this. You and I said the moment she left the company, left WWE, officially was gone, and she was coming into Stardom, that this tour and whatever happens next with her is her really ultimately going to be her resume for her Hall of Fame candidacy, right? That is the discussion you and I had, is that can she do it? She has what she has done now. Now that chapter
in my book,
is
she's
over.
Undeniable.
Yeah.
After this run, she's undeniable.
100%. I think she has proven to be a draw outside of WWE. We have obviously seen that. Yes, she's not at the top of the card, but we all know internationally who is the draw. They have their best attendance records in history of Stardom. They have they were able to even wrestle in Yokohama Arena to begin with. Even 3 years ago, that would be unbelievable.
Well, we saw it with the New Japan US shows. Think of the difference between Battle in the Valley and Capital Collision. And I know there was an IWGP heavyweight title match on that show, but that wasn't announced until the week of. That didn't move tickets like crazy. Mercedes did.
So Jizzle made a great point that the buys will be very telling about how much of a international draw she truly is.
I don't know if we'll ever get the number, truthfully, because they don't let that go.
I think if the number is that good, Rossi will talk to Dave. You know what I mean?
It'll get out there somehow.
Yeah, I think if it is that good, I mean, they announced even that the subscription service, right? They're
it's the most ever, yeah.
And they not only said that it was the most ever, but they said it's like practically like 50% international. You know, right. So I think that she is obviously proven to be a draw outside of WWE. That's huge. Wrestling wise, she's still great. She was great in WWE. She's great here. This is all to more establish herself.
Get better.
And I think you're right. I think she can only get better if she is able to. What she, I think, can do. We always talk that Stardom can be is the number 2 promotion in Japan and is the preeminent women's division. But what Mercedes, I think, can do, which she hasn't done yet, really, but I think what she can do is make Stardom a true international promotion and make it the like a legitimate option for American or not, international, non-American female wrestlers to wrestle in. I think she has the potential to elevate Stardom to a level where you're talking about, like, a bunch of people are about to get fired, probably from WWE. Oh, where could these people go? Some of them might land in Stardom. I think that's something that she can help establish, and she can help bridge that gap, which ultimately makes Stardom a bigger international promotion.
Yeah, Chris Charlton said as much. He said, listen, she's the reason we're on here today. Mm-hmm. She is the reason they have gone to this levels. And I think, her quote, she said, listen, my next stop is May 21st in Long Beach, and then I'm coming back for the IWGP Women's title. So there's your road. Mm-hmm. There's your road so far. What will that match be? I don't know. Mickie James, Deonna Purrazzo, Miyu Yamashita. Few options possible, I think, for that May show. Obviously, there's options from Stardom's roster too that they could bring and send over there as well. I don't rule that out. I was just thinking, you're bringing in Mercedes. I don't know if they necessarily will go as far to bring a Stardom member over as well, just because I think no matter what, Mercedes is a draw. Yeah. No matter who she faces, it's like you put whoever the hell you want against her, and they're gonna be like, all right, we're selling tickets. Mm-hmm. But the fact she's gonna be there is big, and they're probably gonna announce that match soon so that they can move tickets like they did last time. But it's a credit to her. You and me have talked about this. She was the biggest draw in WWE at one point. Yeah. Wasn't Roman. It wasn't Roman. No. It wasn't the needle mover himself.
When both of them were on SmackDown back in like 2020, 2021, the actual needle mover was Sasha Banks at the time. 100% it was her.
Mm-hmm. And they ruined that. That's their fault. She's undeniable, and I think we as fans just need to continue to appreciate it. What she's doing, because like you said, she is changing a lot of things. And that great quote in the Sports Illustrated article. Let me find it. Well, I think really summed up what she's trying to do here. All right, found it. Perfect. This isn't just for me. This is for the future. It's for every girl that has a dream. Mm-hmm. I'm showing the world you can achieve feats that no one else has done before. I want to set the same example. There are so many places where you can wrestle and make your voice heard. I think that does, I don't think she's just saying that. I think that is how she believes. If you ever listen to her, and I've said this time and time again, every time we do this show, Ryan, pretty much talk about Mercedes, I bring it up every time. Yeah. She was on every interview possible, whether it was with Stone Cold Steve Austin or some Ricky Dink podcast or, something like someone like myself interviewing her. She always said Japan was the dream.
Yep.
Now she's doing it. And this was just another. She is 3 for 3 as far as I'm concerned in terms of delivering, and she's gonna be however more. I can't wait to see what's next for her. And like you said, just having her on shows, she doesn't need to be champion.
No,
to be a draw.
No,
she can be, and she will be again.
It helps.
I'm pretty sure
it certainly helps.
It helps. I don't know how you don't try and just book her versus Julia as a special match.
Yeah,
on one of your next big major Stardom shows.
That will draw. I'll tell you that much. I'll buy a ticket.
Absolutely will draw. I think that is the biggest draw for a lot of people. Like, yeah, I'll talk about how Mercedes and Mayu was the biggest draw for me. But I know for a fact it's Julia and Mercedes for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I understand why.
Jizzle made a great point to sort of expand on what I was saying that she's trying to create an alternative. I don't think she has the funds or ability to be like, let me make the AEW to WWE. I think AEW at this point is a great alternative for American fans and especially for the male wrestlers. Stardom will become, if she keeps it up and if they keep drawing, if everything keeps working, I think it could easily be like the alternative for women's wrestling. It has been for a very long time, and Mercedes' goals and Stardom's goals are aligned in such a way that you can truly become an alternative. Yeah. You can truly talk about when, hey, you're seeing those tweets? If Bayley wants out of WWE, where is she going to go? She'll go to Stardom. It'd be that or AEW. And that's a great spot to be in. And that's a great spot to be in.
This is how everyone should look at Stardom. For all the people that sit here and complain about women's wrestling on a weekly fucking basis, whether it's WWE or AEW, go out of your way to watch this. Mm-hmm. Mercedes is making that more. Like, Mercedes is making people have to at this point.
Yeah.
Like, the lazy people that are like, I don't know. She's making them have to, and it's only bringing more English content to Stardom, which will help them as well, and so on and so forth. Like, it's this her match here. It was the beginning. I think so. Someone said this really well. Maybe it was Alex. Alex said, "This will be the match looked back on, whether it was 12 minutes, 18 minutes, 19 minutes. That is like Bayley and Sasha in that it changed something.
Yeah, I think
no matter what." It changed the game for Stardom and for women's wrestling. So in 5-10 years, when we're looking back, this is the match we point to, and this will be the run we point to with Mercedes Moné. Because I do think, listen, Mercedes Moné is going to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome one way or the other.
Yeah.
So why not have it not only be with New Japan, which I think inevitably will happen, probably at Wrestle Kingdom. I think she'll be IWGP Women's Champion by Wrestle Kingdom. So.
Maybe that's the goal.
It is the goal for Stardom. Well, they've been very open.
I was going to say, I was like, how possible is it for Stardom to have a show and wrestle in the Tokyo Dome?
That's the next spot.
Is that 5-10 years plan? If all thing goes according to plan, probably.
That was part of their. So I think it was 2021 when Bushiroad bought them.
Yeah,
they said 6-7 years down the road, that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
Based on, listen, they're not gonna do New Japan numbers. No one does New Japan numbers, but they're going to try to do it. I think within the next, you say 6-7. I say they'll probably do it a lot sooner than that because I just think that's how daring they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, based off of all their trials, they have yet to fail. Right? Yeah. They're trying all these big venues. They've yet to fail. It'll be interesting how they do it. But if they can set it up perfectly, have it be during a time where a lot of people would be willing to travel and be willing to be there, like where Wrestle Kingdom is, you have a show.
Yeah.
If you were to do even back-to-back days, right? Wrestle Kingdom one day, Stardom the next, or something like that. Excuse me. I think you have a shot. I still think it's like 3 to 4 years that they are willing to try. But I, again, wouldn't be shocked if they did it sooner because if they can continue to bring people in like Mercedes Moné and whoever else, you never know, right? You just never know. There's a potential to draw. I wouldn't be shocked if Historic Crossover grew as well if they're willing to put on a true super card.
Yeah.
Rather than like the first one.
Yeah.
And the first one was big, obviously. Did a really good number. But if they were willing to go to the ultimate limit of IWGP, World of Stardom title, if we went with all the major titles in one big show, I wouldn't be shocked if that was their first try too. But I think it's interesting. Mercedes Moné has a lot of control in that for sure.
Yeah, she is in, as we say on watching Survivor. She's in the power position. She has a lot of.
She knows she is,
as she should be. Well, Scotty, that was the dream match. The dream match has been realized. Can you believe it?
I know. I was still like in shock watching it. And Mayu won, so it was like, oh well, shit! Everything that I ever wanted happened. I was not like, because of the contract extension talks, I started to have like major fear it just wasn't going to happen. I started to be like, all right, I have accepted, but instead I got the who do you think you are? I am video. I had that ready to go.
There was a point where it felt like Mercedes was about to say that too. It was like, who do you think?
Know if she did, oh my god, it would be the greatest thing of all time. But yeah, it happened. I loved every second of it, and the fact that we probably will have it again is even more surreal to me. I didn't think it could happen once, and now it's going to be like, yeah, we'll do it again, probably with more time and an even bigger spot. Maybe on a New Japan US show or something of the sorts. Maybe historic crossover. I could see them wait that long.
Maybe
I could definitely see them wait that long.
Maybe
because it's not that long. If they wanted to keep Mercedes busy until then, they can easily. If you wanted to have her on the G1 final in a special singles match rather than an IWGP title match, you could easily do that, stuff like that. But I think she's loving it, and yeah, the dreams have been happening. So I don't know what my retirement speech would be, but I gotta give it because this is my final segment. I'm disappearing after this. This is it.
You are
for me on the Ring Post Radio. So thank you everyone for listening to my loud voice every single week and enjoying me screaming and
wanting this match for 93 episodes, baby. Couldn't make it to 100. So close.
Never did I think I'd get the dream match. When I made those 2 tweets last year, I said, no, it's probably not going to happen. So I could say whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
But I'm a man of my word, folks.
Yeah.
And this is professional wrestling. Retirements mean a lot. They go deep. When you retire, right? Right, Ryan?
That is true.
So I thank everyone for listening. I thank everyone for following me and giving me all their time. I really will enjoy retirement, and I thank Ryan for doing this show with me, and it's been an honor, obviously. But yeah. Here's to you.
Here's to you, Scotty. Cheers.
Here's to you. I appreciate it, everyone. And I'll still be on the Twitters. I'm not gonna stop watching wrestling. Just content's dead for me now. And I've peaked in wrestling fandom. There's no more me getting excited. Once the Stardom show ended, I said, "What the hell am I supposed to be excited for now?" There's nothing. There's not Forbidden Door 2.
All in.
What is that? All in.
CM Punk's return. Who gives a shit?
CM Punk's return. Another 5-star Grand Prix. This stinks. I'm not here for this. My pro wrestling fandom has peaked. So that, without further ado, so long, goodbye, farewell, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's definitely been a pleasure to have Scotty join us on Ring Post Radio for so many episodes. So the look, I guess, for the co-host is on. The search is on. If you got names, put them in the hat. We'll be looking for it. But obviously, with Scotty gone, the show must continue. We're going to have to talk about the main event. I wish Scotty didn't leave right before the main event. I wish we didn't do that. But hey, the show must go on. World of Stardom title match. Tam Nakano defeats Julia. I thought this was match of the night easily, right? I mean, this was Tam Nakano, Julia killing each other for 23 minutes and 40 seconds. We got snapmares through the table. Which was insane. Talk about beating someone with a headlock takeover. Snapmare through a table, which looked awful. Tam took that bump awful. I thought this match was so great. I think I went 4.5 on, I want to say. I loved this match. It had all that sort of that long-standing history. I wish Scotty was here because he knew a lot more of the history than I did. But that sort of history of like,
yeah, you don't think I'm leaving? I'm not leaving. You think I'm leaving? No. I'm not leaving before the main event of the evening. No. I'm back. You want to talk about the history? You want to talk about the match of the night? You want to talk about a match of the year contender? You want to talk about the women's match of the year? Oh, don't worry. Don't you worry. I'm right here. I'm ready to talk about it. I'll talk about it. All right. Tam Nakano, Julia, one more time. Joke's on you. It's definitely going to happen again. But one more time.
Just like Keiji Muto, he has come out of retirement.
You know it, baby. You know it, baby. I also have 2 shows tomorrow, so I can't even slightly act. Anyways, I couldn't leave Ryan hanging. I even brought the background. I brought the background.
Yeah.
I brought the crew.
You brought the entire crew, the restart crew.
I brought the whole crew. Look at them. Look at this crew. How can you not love them? But yeah, everything that Ryan said. Yes, I listened to everything Ryan said. I didn't actually.
What?
Duh.
Huh?
Yeah, I know. Shocked, stunned, bamboozled. But everything that Ryan said is absolutely right. These two, the only thing this match didn't have, and I think it would have brought to that like debatable 5-star level, is if they bled.
Agreed.
Like, and I think that's very unfair for me to ask for someone to do, because not everyone's John Moxley.
Yeah,
and they did bleed. They had bloody mouths, like from slapping the shit out of each other. But like, I wanted the crimson face. I wanted the crimson mask. I wanted that extra level.
I wanted Tam to pull out a razor, just shave Julia's head again.
Yes, I wanted them to just go full. I hate you. You hate me.
Mm-hmm.
This was the match of the night, no question. It deserved the main event. It lived up to the main event. They dropped each other on each other's heads like 97 times.
Yeah.
The ending, oh my god, what an ending, huh?
Yeah.
She kicks out of Twilight Dream, and I'm like, oh my god. And then she hits the Violet Screwdriver, which should be her finisher, by the way. I'm very happy it is, because it's the better move.
Mm-hmm.
And Tam Nakano is your fucking World of Stardom champion. Who would have thought? Listen, I thought Julia was going to have a shorter reign than a year.
Yeah, than the past two reigns. Yeah.
Did I think they were going to do the ultimate reset from All-Star Dream Cinderella to All-Star Grand Queendom the same exact way with Tam Nakano on top of the world? Not for a second. But the story made sense.
I said it last week. I laid it out last week. It made sense. I was like, well, hold on. And what if it actually might be Tam Nakano?
This was one of those times where Tam Nakano hit every level she's supposed to hit.
Yes. Which
is when she's one of the very best. And Julia obviously is one of the very best. You and me have talked about that. Yes. But this was outstanding. Perfect end to the show. Where do we go from here now?
We got some more stuff on the show. I mean, do you want to stick around for the rest of the episode? Stick around for another 100 episodes, maybe?
Yeah. You know what? I mean, at least 100. I mean, I can't. You made a good point. I can't just leave before 100.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get rid of the background now. But I wanted to come back with a boom. But absolutely fantastic show from All Star Grand Queendom. They will go down as one of the best shows of the year. A truly historic show for women's professional wrestling. One of the greatest women's professional wrestling shows of all time. And it's all steam ahead now to whatever's next. 5-star Grand Prix. Let's talk
about 5-star Grand Prix real quick. I was gonna have the thought. I had the conversation a couple weeks ago about how, or maybe last week actually. Go ahead.
I forgot. Kyrie was staring down.
She was
that World of Stardom title.
She was. I noticed that too. She looked very awkward in that group. And I thought that was very interesting.
I was like, that could be their next major show.
Now's a good time for Kyrie to win that world title. I think after Tam,
but she's a free agent, Ryan.
Who gives a shit?
No, I know. It drove me insane. I was like, she's been the same the whole time.
I think 5-star has 3 that I can think of, maybe 4 potential winners that I can immediately think of, right? I think you have Kyrie, easy potential winner, always a potential winner, assuming she's in it. Would she be in it? I don't know.
Wouldn't get my hopes up.
Me neither. Julia. I like the idea of Julia winning and then going on to Dream Queendom and doing the match again.
One more time.
Why not? Maybe add a stip to it. I don't know. Get some blood.
Tiring. I can see that. Tam's going to retire eventually. And by the way, this was her only shot. If she didn't win here, she would never win the belt.
Agreed.
It was a very satisfying moment because of that fact.
I think the other third option, which I don't think is, I think there's an outside chance. I think this is a dark horse pick that Saya Kamatani, I think, has a potential to be a dark horse pick to win the 5-star. Would she win an All-Star Dream Queendom? I don't know. If it's still Tam, I don't know. But
I can see her be put on the back burner big time too.
Yeah,
like Utami has.
I hope not. I hope Saya doesn't get that much of a back.
Truthfully, I think Saya and Utami get a tag title run soon. Now that they're free.
That's true. That's a good spot.
I think Utami's been waiting for someone in her group to be free for over a year. She's like, hey, I'm all alone here doing nothing. Can one of you fucking lose so I can stop losing?
That's a great point.
And I think them versus the New Eras makes a lot of sense for a show. I can't say Flashing Champions, so be interesting.
That makes sense.
But,
I think optional fourth pick is like Mirai, just because it's Mirai in this company.
Tam winning opens up the 5-star. When it was Julia, I said Utami, maybe Mirai. Once Mirai won the Cinderella, I said no more Mirai. So I was pretty much like Utami, because that's their biggest match that they haven't touched yet.
Tam again, just because of the rivalry.
Tam again, yeah, you never know.
It would be weird to lose here, then have the match of the Dream Queendom.
Right. Now with Tam, it's like Julia could just win the title back before the 5-star, which wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities. Though I think we do wait a while now. I think when the Utami Julia match finally does happen, I think that's actually when Julia probably gets her second title reign.
Yeah.
Because I think Utami gets it probably within the next 2 years again.
I want it. Give me it. I want to see
everyone
Utami
misses
wrestle
Utami
again.
in the spotlight. I understand.
Yeah.
I think Utami's a possibility to win the 5-star because Tam and Utami's a big match.
Yeah.
That they've only had like in tournaments. They've never done it for the title, and I think that would be an interesting case. They have great chemistry. I think Saya, like you said, is obviously an option. I think Kyrie, if she was in it, she would be the favorite. 100%. Because I think Kyrie and Tam in the main event of Stardom Dream Queendom is like a dream.
Yeah. A little awkward for Natsupoi to be maybe a team member of Kyrie at that point.
Also, we should have known. Tam and Natsupoi released an album this week. How could they? They weren't losing. They weren't losing. That's important.
They had the power of Spotify in their corner.
Yeah, they had some magic going for them. Let's see. If Suzuki ever signed, I would give her a chance, but she's not going to sign this year.
If she signed, she would be another dark horse pick. But I don't think she's.
This is my dark horse pick. And I talked to someone about this because she also had an interesting look in there. But she always has interesting. I wouldn't be shocked if they were starting a story between Tam and Sayori anew. I know she just joined Cosmic Angels, but I don't know. She seems sus.
Yeah,
she seems sus, and I think that'd be an interesting one, but I do think Utami. There's a lot of people now, which is fun. But yeah, that is Stardom, folks. We talked about a lot of Stardom. That was a nice hour. I know you missed the GCW talk, but we're never getting it again. So let it go.
When they come back to Atlanta, when they go up to Boston, maybe we'll see.
They were here for Providence at Will Ospreay and Nick Wayne, and I said no.
That is true.
That was the match to get me there, and I still said no.
But that was more of a one-match card, if I recall, than this match. This show had at least had a couple matches that were like, oh, okay, interested.
Now I feel like I got to check.
Yeah, I gotta look that up too.
You're probably right.
It's not a lot. Not a lot.
But I personally read GCW and said,
no.
Listen.
Well, this was like post Hammerstein Ballroom GCW, where it was like,
no, it was like should not have so many great matches that I have to fucking scroll for an hour and a half.
It was post Hammerstein Ballroom, where it was just like, and post WrestleMania, I think, as well. So it was just like, at the time, GCW was at the stinkiest it's been. They've gotten a lot of stink off, I think.
They still stinky,
but they're not. Yeah, they're not they're not clean. I guess that's the if I was to stick
All
with the
right,
analogy.
this is the card. I think you can take it back. This fucking sucks.
I said it was a one match card. That's what I said.
Oh, this is such a one match card. We had Blake Christian and Jordan Oliver, Alley Catch and Mephisto, Kevin Blackwood and Jack Cartwheel, Cole Roderick and Ninja Mac, Drago Kid and the Space Boys, Commander and Los Maquizos,
Sure.
Joey Janela versus JT Dunn, One Called Manders and Mance Warner versus Wave and Curls, Tony Deppen versus
Whoa.
Dustin Waller versus
Ugh.
Effie versus Jimmy Lloyd versus Marcus Mathers, and then Will Ospreay and Nick Wayne.
Let's talk about New Japan. New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have 2 shows coming up. They're on the road to Wrestling Dontaku, and they got a show happening. I believe it was this Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. It happening 4/27, which is this Wednesday. This Thursday. This Thursday, 4/27, and then they have another show, Satsumi no Kuni, on the 29th. The reason we're talking about a Road 2 show and a random ass pay-per-view name is because there's some title matches on the show that we want to discuss on the road to Wrestling Dontaku, which is next week. So we got a couple matches here to talk about here, Scotty. Top 3 on Road to Wrestling Dontaku Night 3. We got Tetsuya Naito and versus Doki in the singles match.
Doki.
Obviously who's going to win that match. It's going to be Naito. But hey, Doki. Big spot for Doki. Doki, baby. You also got
Did you say Doki was gonna lose?
100% Doki's. I love Doki. I want Doki to win. I'm a Doki stan.
What a disgrace!
IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match. You also have Catch 22. Catch 22. Catch 22. I think it is. Francisco Akira and TJP versus Jet Setters Kevin Knight and Kushida. Nice little title defense here. And the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match, Hiromu Takahashi versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. What do you think about those 3 matches on Road to Wrestling Dontaku Night 6 this Thursday?
I never thought I'd say this. I'm most excited for the IWGP Junior Tag title match.
Yeah, baby. Kevin Knight, come on. Semi-main in Japan.
Best of the Super Juniors gets announced that show, isn't it? That will be our talking point next week.
Yes, it will. That will eat up a lot of time. I'm excited for the Best of Super Juniors.
Unless it sucks. Well, no, if it sucks, it'll eat up a lot of time too.
What I also like about that, though, is that if the Best of Super Juniors are getting announced that night and Kevin Knight is working the show in a junior tag, I don't know. I feel like Kevin Knight might be a BOSJ kind of guy coming up, and I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I agree.
Great spot for him to get even better.
Yeah, I love Kevin Knight.
There was something, though, I realized about. Let me look this up again. The Best of Super Juniors start May 12th, and the Resurgence show is the same night or same day as Night 8. So whoever is in Best of Super Juniors will not be working the Long Beach Resurgence show. They will also not be working Impact Under Siege, because it's the same night as Night 11. And they won't be working Double or Nothing, but who cares? There's definitely not working that. So yeah, whoever's working Best of Super Juniors is not going to be working Resurgence and not working Under Siege. So like Kevin Knight, Kushida, guys that have obviously been in Impact recently, they won't be. They're both in the Best of Super Juniors, not going to be working.
Kushida better be in the Best of Super Juniors. Otherwise, why the fuck did you come back?
Yeah, I like him in Jet Setters because it's enough where it's like, okay, cool. This is something for Kushida to do. He's not the same guy as he once was. His WWE run added a crap ton of stink on him, and Kevin Knight thankfully is pulling it out of him a little bit more.
The best I've seen from Kushida since coming back.
That Impact title match was pretty good. I thought that was a good looking Kushida match.
Probably not my answer. I actually really like the 6-man tag they had this week.
On Impact?
Yeah, but he was with the Motor City.
He was one of 6 guys, so that helps on a taped show.
True.
That helps.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah,
I couldn't even tell you what his best match is since he came back. I also think he's not. a tournament to get all the stink off. It might be with Darby Allin. The Darby Allin match that randomly happened
against Kushida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TNT title match.
Yeah.
That was really good. That's probably his best singles.
I forgot that happened.
You should have seen my surprise when I was scrolling just now and said, "Oh shit, that happened. Oh, that was good.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good." And Catch 22. I think they're a great tag team. I'm glad to see them back in Japan, and I'm ready to see them for Best of the Super Juniors.
Yeah, I'm sure TJP will be in it. Which,
if you cannot see it, audience, podcast listener, big old eye roll. And then
Claude Connors will be a favorite.
Claude Connors.
Yeah.
I wonder. Well, the resurgence thing puts a lot of questions to me. Is Claude Connors going to be Best of the Super Juniors if they want him on Resurgence?
If you really want him, I don't think he's that much of a draw for Resurgence.
No, that's true. I just think it's like the work that they're doing with like him turning in DC Philadelphia show. Do they want to continue that storyline in America? If so, maybe he should be at the Resurgence show with David Finlay. I don't know. That's just me.
What's the poster look like for Resurgence? Huh?
I don't know.
Well, that's important. It tells me who's going to be at the show.
New Japan
2023. I got this.
Okay, you're looking this up. I'm not looking.
All right, show me Lance Archer and Tanahashi one more fucking time. We'll beat the shit out of you.
I think the main event as well. Kanemaru.
Oh, it's Okada, Tanahashi, and Kenta.
And Doki.
What a way to not get me excited. Putting
some basic ass people on that show.
Well, I mean, Okada's a big deal.
Well, no, basic in the sense of, it was okay. Of course, you're gonna have Okada on the show. So yeah, and then the main event, of course, Hiromu Takahashi versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Hiromu's on his way to defeat Sonata, challenge Sonata at Dontaku. So of course he's gonna get the win here and defend the title. That's not a surprise whatsoever. But let's talk about the Saturday show, Satsuma no Kuni, which is happening 4/29.
What is this show? Why is it a special name? Did I miss something?
Is this the show, Satsuma no Kuni? Is this the show that has like the cool like anime poster for Maybe? New Japan? I feel like it. No, it doesn't. It appears not. It appears it just has some,
looks pretty mid.
Looks like it's just some Japanese lettering. That's fine. But there are 2 title matches here. The main event being the New Japan KOPW title match between Shingo Takagi and Taichi. No stipulation yet announced. And then a match I'm very excited for, IWGP tag title match, Aussie Open versus TMDK, the team of Shane Hayes and Mad Mikey Nichols.
The best tag team in the world in TMDK.
Hey, hold on, man. It's the original TMDK. Mad Mikey Nichols.
Aussie.
It's Mad Mikey Nichols, my guy.
They're like the original Aussie tag team.
They are. This is a huge Tamashi call out here.
Tamashi.
What?
No, I think you're right.
I think I am right.
I think you are right. I was confusing myself.
But yeah, they got 4 or 5 matches coming up that I think are looking pretty good out of New Japan. I still got to go back and watch that Shingo Hanare match from WrestleMania weekend. I didn't tell you this. Finally watched the Shingo Okada match.
You like it?
Yeah, it was good. It was a really great match.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I gave it. I think I went 4 flat.
Maybe you should have watched it 7 years ago. Maybe it would have been better if Okada was still champion.
That's true.
Add some more meaning to it.
That is true. I think I went 4 flat. I'm pulling it up as we speak. But that's pretty good.
What is this Wrestling Dontaku card?
Yeah, I went 4 flat on it. Wrestling Dontaku card. We'll talk about it, of course, more in depth next week. But
kind of smelly. Hikaleo. Oh dear God.
Hikaleo, my guy, Hikaleo.
Anyways,
yeah, we'll talk about it more next week. But it's
so have 30 minutes to fill. What the fuck are we supposed to do?
30 minutes to fill. Well, we might have 30 minutes to. Well, do you want to talk about a little AEW action? We don't talk about AEW that often.
Yeah, let's talk a little collision. Let's talk a little pillars. I want to think of a better name for them. Let's call them the AEW frauds.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, let's talk about CM Punk first. Speaking about AEW frauds.
Hey!
Got him!
That was good.
Got him.
That was good.
So we got more confirmations about this whole CM Punk situation. So this is all from the Observer. As things stand right now, the return of CM Punk is scheduled for a 6/17 show, June 17th show at the United Center in Chicago, which being a Saturday night show is likely the debut of the new weekly show, which is believed to be called AEW Collision. The building is being booked, and it likely will be announced very shortly. By the way, Tony Khan's making an announcement this Wednesday on Dynamite. When the Punk deal and the TV deal are finalized, obviously with the building deal in place, the TV deal has either been done or they must be almost certain of it. The decision on Punk returning was made many weeks ago. There was a snag 2 weeks back that has evidently been worked out. Dave goes on to later say that he believes, was it Dave? I think it was like Trevor Dame, I think, that maybe put the math together. That they sort of came to the conclusion that, I think it was Dave, that came to the conclusion that they think that this TV deal might be in the ballpark of like $50 million a year, obviously, for AEW. So what do you think about this? We got more confirmation about CM Punk. United Center sellout on a rumor again coming up this June, right before Forbidden Door. So that's interesting as well. You would think they would maybe book something for Forbidden Door there. And I like the little call out by the little snag 2 weeks ago, which putting into context, 100% you can see why Dave was upset with himself for almost costing the CM Punk return and a $50 million TV deal for AEW. 100% you can be like, see why he was like so apologetic about it. And because he almost hurt a lot of the boys, and Dave doesn't like doing that. But what do you think about this news?
Yeah, one, we forgot the WWE draft was this week, so I don't know what we're doing here. We have a mock draft to be doing someday, but that's fine.
We'll schedule that out.
Well, the draft starts Friday.
Well, are we gonna announce the rules of how this draft is working or anything? Come on.
Well,
let's wait till after Monday to see what happens.
All right, we'll give some free in-week content for the good folks at home, one way or the other. You're welcome. That being said, about CM Punk and the AEW draft, that will pretty much be happening behind the scenes. Obviously a major deal. 2 hours, prime time, Saturday night, because of one man. It's because of one man. Without CM Punk, this isn't happening. And people ask, why is he still here? Well, we got our answer.
Yep.
We know why he's still here. The scary part is, though, what happens if he blows up again or gets hurt again or isn't around for the show built around him?
Yep.
What happens?
I said it last week. I've saying it a lot of months. He is the Pandora's box.
And listen, he's going to pretty much handpick this entire show because it's going to be people that are willing to work with him and he's willing to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So let's play a little game. We'll give you a pre mock draft, but for AEW Collision.
We're doing a classic AEW roster lookup page.
My favorite. That's at least once a month. That is at least once a month. All right. So let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
We're only going to talk about people that matter.
I think champions will cross. Shows.
Yeah, FTR feels like a pretty good lock.
Good point. But I imagine they will still work Dynamite because it's people that are friendly with Punk, but there also are people that are probably friendly with the Elite. So I would imagine
I think champions will be the ones that cross over. Mm-hmm. Everyone else will be pretty set. So
how are we doing this? Are we going through every single person? How are we doing this? Who's Punk adorable? Who's Punk not adorable?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Here we go. Strap in, folks, for the next 10 hours of your life. Let's go.
This is how we do. We're giving you a mock draft for AEW Collision, folks.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
So you tell me if they are if they are fans or if they're frauds.
If they're punkers or they're frauds.
Tell me if they're Punky Brewsters or if they're frauds. The other option, obviously, frauds. Here we go. Yeah. Strap in, folks. Click. Aaron Solo.
I'll do push for doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
In the middle, doesn't matter. No sides being picked there.
Action Andretti.
Push.
Here we go.
Honestly, he'll probably stay Dynamite. I just can't see that guy being like the guy that jumps out to see him.
I think Solo, Andretti, I think they can work both shows. And I think Andretti needs more work, so working both shows is a good idea. Here's the first big one, Adam Cole.
The Elite. He's literally friends with all of them.
Yeah. Could he work with Punk?
I wouldn't be he would be like the only one that's really connected to them that maybe could sneak over because the promos would be worth it.
Yeah. But... yeah. Adam Page?
No. No.
Alex Reynolds?
No. Hangman Page adjacent.
Yeah. Andrade? Is he coming back?
I think if he were to come back, he'd be on that show.
I think if he would be on that show, him and CM Punk interacting is a bad idea.
That's why they need to be on it. I do think he probably likes him. I don't know why.
And Helico.
Push.
Angelo Parker. Cool hand.
Yes. I do think he would be on it as I'll save us some time the entire JAS.
All right. That's an easy one. Because that's also what it seems like. It'd be all the JAS people. The Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens, Max Caster. I say yes.
I say yeah. Yeah, because he had that match with Anthony Bowens, did he not?
I believe he did.
Maybe it was Danielson. But Bowens was doing some singles matches. I wouldn't be shocked if he went to Collision.
Anthony Ogogo. Who?
Listen, I think to save us time, we just skip over people that do not have conversation.
Sure. Okay. AR Fox. Might have been friends on the Indies, maybe,
or he's turned them the wrong way on the Indie.
I'll say no. No. The Guns. Maybe.
I feel like no. I'll go no.
Bandito.
Maybe. I can't see there being a problem one way or the other.
No. The Butcher and the Blade. That's an interesting one.
I can see that maybe.
Brian Cage and maybe the Swerve Enterprises or whatever it's called, the Mogul Enterprises. I don't know. Maybe. There's a lot of maybes.
There's a lot of people that I feel like are locks, and then there's some that are just like that'll be something we learn over time.
Here's an interesting one that 100% the guy has an opinion on the subject. Brian Pillman Jr.
Brian Pillman Jr. will absolutely be on the CM Punk show. That is a guy he has name dropped.
Yeah. House of Black.
Yeah. Brody King legitimately tweets about the Punk stuff many times.
Blackpool Combat Club, they're going to be on the Elite. FTR, they'll be all over the place, but probably mainly Collision.
Colt Cabana.
Christian Cage? No. I think Christian. I think I read somewhere that Christian doesn't like CM Punk.
Keep the dinosaur away from me.
Daniels, I mean, he'll be there because he's the head of talent relations, so he's 100% there. He's 100% on that show. The Best Friends? No, I don't think so. Colt Cabana, maybe. Who knows? If he cuts his mother off
to Ring of Honor.
If he cuts his mother off from her funds, then maybe we'll see.
To Ring of Honor.
Danhausen, maybe. Who knows? Definitely.
Absolutely,
he's gonna get the push of a lifetime.
Him and Danhausen are boys.
He's gonna get the push of a lifetime, and I'm gonna be so upset about it.
The main event's gonna be Danhausen versus CM Punk.
Top Flight.
It doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
Right now, it just doesn't matter.
Darby Allin.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
that's Punk's hand-picked guy.
Yeah. Dustin Rhodes. I think Dustin doesn't care, and I think he would work it.
Yeah, I think Dustin would ball.
Eddie Kingston is sort of not on AEW anymore. He's just ROH, and also he's injured, so who knows?
Also, probably not.
The Firm. Ethan Page, Stokely Hathaway.
No,
I feel like that's an easy
no. CM Punk blowing up pretty much ruined the Firm.
Exactly. I would assume they won't want to work with him.
Jungle Boy Jack Perry, no.
Jungle Boy, I got a feeling. This guy doesn't really like CM Punk. Hook, yes. Assuming
Sure.
Hook would want to. Private Party, sure. Who gives a shit? Jay White-O.
Jay White follows the money.
He'll do it. He'll do it for money.
What benefits Jay White more? That's pretty much at the. I think he would be one of the guys that would be beneficial to have on both shows. Actually,
I agree. Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. And
also, Jay White's AEW roster render.
He's yoked. He looks yoked.
Absolutely yoked.
Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, that whole group, probably.
Yeah.
The Hardy brothers, the Hardys.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
no, Jeff hates him. Jeff Punk openly made fun of him many times on WWE television. So no, I don't think so.
Keith Lee?
Sure, why not?
Takeshita, 100%. If Takeshita can work with CM Punk will 100% want to have Takeshita on his show.
Oh yeah, but he's literally connected to the Elite. So
yeah,
there's a story happening on our televisions right now. Juice, absolutely. I know Juice would be all over that show.
What do we got? Mark Briscoe,
Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega, no. Mark Briscoe, Kenny Omega. Down the line, maybe.
He's more likely than the other two.
Mark Briscoe, maybe. Yeah.
I can't see Mark Briscoe having much of a problem. And FTR's there.
Let's see. The Lucha Brothers, Pentagon and Phoenix. They don't give a shit.
No, good fuck.
Pac? I don't think he cares. Maybe.
MJF.
100%. No, actually, I don't know.
I think he does both. He's the world champ.
Yes, I think you'll probably do both.
I don't think he has a choice.
I think if Collision is going to be a big time show that is going to compete with Dynamite, your world champion has to be on that show at some point. And consistently on that show as well, to showcase that it is an important show. Hobbs, yes.
Oh yeah,
100%. 100% Hobbs will be on that show. Will QT Marshall go with him on that show?
Don't give a shit. Hopefully not.
Ricky Starks,
absolutely, and that is very much pun intended.
Roosh,
yes.
Again, like Andrade.
Feels like a Punk guy. Like if Roosh probably doesn't give a fuck.
No, Roosh doesn't care, but 100% they'll have a blow up backstage and that'll be it.
I could see Roosh stand out on that show.
Yeah. Sammy Guevara.
Part of the JAS.
One of the 4 pillars. Samoa Joe?
Absolutely. He's Samoa Joe. I'm sure CM Punk wants a match with Samoa Joe probably as much as any other match on this in this company.
Is Scorpio Sky returning onto Collision?
I forgot he even existed.
Sean Spears.
Who cares? Sting goes with Darby.
Wardlow. No. Athena? She's on Ring of Honor, but maybe not.
She should.
Britt Baker? I don't know anymore. I could see it at one point in time, yes.
He put her over big time all the time. So
at one point in time, maybe, yes. Emi Sakura? I don't think she.
I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Jade Cargill. She's a champion. Maybe not.
Who cares
anymore? Who else?
Haters on both.
The Outcasts. Ruby Soho. Tony Storm. Saraya.
Yeah, him and Saraya are friendly.
Serena Deeb, whenever she comes back. Yeah.
Forgot she even existed.
Thunder. Now's a good time to separate Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, right?
Yeah. One goes on one show, one goes on the other. And that right there, folks, is your AEW Collision what ifs. Do you like the show? Would that interest you with the likes of the JAS and Samoa Joe and the House of Black and FTR? CM Punk, of course. I think it's a good split. I think there's a good enough potential split there that you can make both shows good.
Yeah.
And of course, you have outside talent that you could toss on there. Like, if you want to put a big Vikingo match on Collision, you can do that at any time. I don't think anyone's going to be against that. I don't think Vikingo's going to be like, no, I don't want to work with CM.
The only other news I had about CM Punk that I want to talk about, which I thought was fun, that you may have seen, Dave Meltzer also noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that CM Punk hasn't reached out to the Elite and apologized yet. I heard he did. What? Close friend, or I heard that he wants to apologize. It's up to them. Well, apparently, according to Dave, he was told, don't talk to the guys. Close friends of Punk have said that he was told not to contact him. Well, regarding the meeting scheduled to try and smooth out issues of Tony Khan, CM Punk, FTR, and Chris Jericho, there's nothing new on that. And Dave was told that it was not taking place as of press time. As of the weekend, there was no resolution to the situation. There are many situations, all things involved. What a meeting, by the way, to smooth things over with CM Punk. Tony Khan, Punk, Jericho, and FTR. What a meeting. What a meeting that would be. But Punk was told not to contact the Elite, which I think is fascinating. A fascinating development.
This is one wrestling company.
The drama. The drama.
WWE's just like, Vince is back. This company on a weekly basis is like, yeah, we're going to try to do something that seems impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do it until the wheels fall off.
I gotta tell you, a lot of juggling in the air for Tony Khan. A lot of juggling.
Tony Khan should probably look to making things happen for himself, because there's a lot going on for this guy right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Booking essentially 3 different brands is an absurd mindset.
100%. And whether or not what do you think about this recent run of Dynamite? I think it's starting to come to a head about a lot of his booking and his time and his energy to everywhere. I also think I want to see Ring of Honor booked I want Ring of Honor, whether or not he continues as the booker of Ring of Honor, only tape it, only do like the NXT style of taping every month or so at Universal. I think that's a great idea. You don't have to think about Ring of Honor every week and book it every week. You think about it day of with the people you got, book something day of. You got all these weeks of programming. Do that. Do it monthly. Don't do it weekly. Please. Just book it monthly. And that would help you a lot, TK.
Also, stop making it AEW Dark Elevation.
Yes.
For half the show.
Yes. Please. Any other things you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the pillars? As you said, the 4 frauds?
Yeah, I want to talk about the pillars.
Pretty big accusation.
I didn't call them the 4 frauds. I just said maybe fraudulent. Their promos this week stunk.
Oh, stinky binky doo-doo. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah. The show I put it on. I was like, what? Sammy and Jungle Boy have never felt more. What happened?
Kyle in the chat, destroy those runs.
Sammy and Jungle Boy have never felt more.
Not him.
Not. Yeah, than they did in this. And that comes from someone who's obviously been very much like, yeah, Sammy ain't him. And Jungle Boy has a lot of work to do.
Jungle Boy's still gotten better. It's still not there.
It hurt them more when all 4 were involved in the segment.
Yeah.
And then Darby also was kind of geeky by freaking out.
Woo!
Got the buy! And I was like,
you fucking nerd. Shut up.
You're a fighting
champion. I thought you were a fighting champion.
It's obviously still going to be a fatal 4-way. Like, that's very obvious after how they did the last match.
And how they're actively matching in it now.
Man, I don't love this.
No.
I don't love it. This is your main feud.
This rivalry is hurting people at this point.
It is. The only person that hasn't been hurt is MJF, and that's because he's proven.
Yeah.
And MJF's a guy that I think a lot of people didn't feel that way anyways to begin with, but he's a lot more proven than these 3.
And he had a freaking rebar mitzvah, a singing segment and everything, and he's still walking out pretty scot-free.
Yeah. This all stinks. The pillars, like, I hate calling them the pillars because it's the weirdest thing to say on a television show. Yeah, we're the four pillars. No, you just put on a shitty shirt that no one bought.
Mhm.
That's what you were. That's all. Like, if you look at this roster, right?
Yeah.
And we just went through the whole roster. We talked about all these young guys. How in the world are these the four pillars?
Yeah. Just because
Like, I understand it was when you started,
Mhm.
but since you started, you've added about 50 people
Yeah.
that could instantly be in that combo.
Yes. You've added a bunch of people that have become pillars. There has been people that have become pillars, you know what I mean? Like you've added people that are like, "Oh, these are potential pillars." You've had people who were there basically from the beginning become pillars. I would argue Orange Cassidy is a pillar. Granted, he's not like a young guy compared to these other four guys, but like he has become a pillar of this company. Um, it's wild,
It's
dude.
because they're young,
Yeah, and that's the only reason.
but like,
But pillars is really what the bad term of it all. If it was like
and they
something
say
else,
it all the
hmm
time.
hmm the whole
They don't
tournament,
stop
the
saying
tournament, which as Kyle
pillars.
says is dumb because it's a 2-match tournament. How is that a tournament? The tournament's called the Four Pillars Tournament, and there's like 3 people in
Oh,
it.
it's so. I think that's what Tony Khan will probably talk about. Like, he'll probably be like, well, you know, Sammy cheated, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it all stinks. It stinks. And Double or Nothing's your biggest show. And listen, your main feud is not so shockingly involving the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club.
Of course.
That stuff's phenomenal. That stuff is must see TV.
hmm
Everything else, and this is now going at AEW, for the most part, meh.
Yeah, mid to bad.
Yeah, like the Jericho Cole thing was like fine.
I like that. I was like, oh yeah, this
I
is
did
good heat.
too.
This is
I
good
thought the
heat. It's
crowd
working.
stunk this week.
No, the crowd's been
Um,
stinging a lot recently.
yeah, the crowds. I don't know what happened and why the crowds are dead, but AEW needs a hot crowd for
hmm
their shows to be better. The segment worked. It just the crowd wasn't there for Britt Baker, their hometown hero, getting her ass beat in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
Um, like I thought they did a great job with that and made that feud actually like make sense. If that like
Yeah.
the idea of the feud for the longest time was like, why is this a feud?
Yeah. It has actually given heat to the feud and makes me want to see what happens. That
Yeah.
I will compliment and say a lot of people have been dogging on that. I think that was actually pretty good. And I think that got
Yeah.
heat. I think the crowd just stunk, and I think hopefully it'll be better.
But I'm gonna sit here and also talk about like you have whatever you've done with like the likes of a Swerve, for example, like I don't get it. I don't know why he's been relegated to Rampage segments that no one watches because
Rampage, baby.
he's so much better than that,
Yeah.
and he's always the guy I'm gonna pick out because I think he is just so underutilized. I mean, yeah, him losing to Darby, people were like, well, people gotta lose. I was like, yes, but why does it always have to be Swerve?
Yeah.
I feel like every time this guy's on my TV, he's either winning by help or
hmm
getting disqualified
hmm
or just straight up losing. Why does it have to be him? Yeah, people can lose. You know who should lose? The fucking Pillars. They suck.
Yeah, I think the Pillars are really good wrestlers. The
They
problem
are.
is in that sure, I mean, that's what you want. You want good wrestlers to back, to push, but
Yeah. But like Heyman Page is your pillar.
it's the problem is that like I don't Sammy has not gotten any better. Jungle Boy has
No.
made huge improvements in promo time, but it's like
Yes.
the promo stuff is still a detriment to these guys. And Darby is okay. He can have good promos. He can have bad promos. It is like the promo stuff is, as we have seen through this feud, through this storyline, a almost a detriment to these guys. I thought their match was pretty good. The Jungle Boy Sammy Guevara match. I thought that was pretty good. That like dropping DDT was fucking insane.
Mm.
But it was like after the promo, it was like, who gives a shit about these guys? Like
You know who's the same age as Darby Allin? Who is, I believe, is he the oldest pillar?
Darby.
I know Sammy Guevara is not young. necessarily. He's 29.
Sammy might be the oldest.
No, it is Darby. He's 30.
Jesus.
You know who's that age?
Who?
And much better?
Who?
Jay White. I know he just walked in the door. But I mean, again, that's a pillar.
That's a pillar.
MJF is a pillar.
How do you feel about Jay White's quote unquote push?
I thought his match with Commander was awesome.
Same.
Like that shit was great because it was different.
Yep.
And I think him and Juice versus Sean Spears and Ricky Starks is fine. Like it's a fine match to get us to Jay White versus Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
But don't wait too long either. Because Jay White, he is so much better than the majority of people on your roster.
Yes.
And it's not even close. Like he had a random match with Commander that just had no purpose to it besides this is Jay White's first match in signing.
It was the best match on the show, in my opinion.
Exactly. So like push him. Go with him. Wardlow winning? You want okay, clearly I have a lot of problems with this show. But like, holy shit, why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, and I want to go back to the pillars. They don't suck, okay? It's just the force of the word pillar makes me want to vomit.
Hobbs is a pillar. I think Hobbs is better at promos than some of these guys. And
I think Hobbs is better.
Yeah.
He's a star. He has a star presence about him.
Yeah. Yet
he loses all the time. Like I watch Sammy Guevara in these spots, and what he's doing is he's cutting babyface promos, and then he's like, "But you all suck." And it's like,
well, because he doesn't know how to cut heel promos.
No,
he's been working with Chris Jericho for years, and he doesn't know how to cut heel promos.
And no one wants to cheer for him either. That's why he went back to being heel.
Yeah, he has good pre-tapes. So does everybody.
Yeah, well,
does everybody in this company.
Congratulations. You know who has who else has good pre-tapes?
Hook.
Exactly.
I have a thought that I've been having for a little bit now, and I'll unleash it upon the world.
Please unleash it.
I'm not sure yet if I'm down to the full like concrete resolution of the thought, but it is that I am unsure about Tony Khan's level.
But what?
Level of making and developing new stars by his doing. You know what I mean? MJF, proven star. He was a star. He just had to get to that spot, right? Swerve is a star, but he's losing. Hobbs, I think, is a star. He's losing.
Sure.
The pillars are people that he is actively pushing, young guys he's actively pushing, and I think he's pushed them way too soon. Ring of Honor, bunch of young guys. What's happening to that promotion? You know?
Ring of Honor doesn't have pillars. They don't have a roster.
It's this thing of I question. Think what is someone that Tony Khan has developed, and we're saying like they can maybe draw, but who is someone that you feel that he has actively developed? I don't consider MJF a Tony Khan vehicle per se. You know what I mean? I think that's MJF just finally getting the spotlight he deserves.
Sure.
Wardlow, Darby, Jungle Boy.
Wardlow's a flop.
Jungle Boy, Sammy.
I think Darby is more in the MJF category of like
he has a lot of star power.
He's not. I think your question is obviously like who got to a world title spot.
It's also weird, like chicken and egg situations. How much do you want to give to each person? You know.
Yeah. Shut up, bang bang.
It's tough. It's a tough thought. I guess the other thing is I think a big
Takeshita, but like
no, maybe that's he was booked fairly decently. I think. A lot of
I
people are
think
questioning.
Takeshita loses all the time though, and like Dave has said many times, it's like, when are you gonna finally give him the big win?
Yeah, yeah. I fear, and
Stick.
I've had this fear for a while. And I'm
Oh, I got one.
hit me,
Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter. Kyle in the chat said the Acclaimed.
Yeah, the claim's a good one.
He
That
said
was that was as homegrown as can be.
he said the Acclaim maybe, but even then they kind of stink right now. They do kind of stink right now, but they definitely got over, and that was
I go Jamie.
100% a vehicle by him. Jamie solid, Jamie solid. I think that my fear with AEW, and I think this is a booking issue, is what there's probably other better examples, but for right now, I'm going to call the Kyle O'Reilly factor because I think O'Reilly factor is funny. I fear that AEW could have like a bunch of guys that make sense as world champions within AEW, but aren't necessarily like that star level for me, like that big star. And like it was like Kyle O'Reilly in NXT made sense at the time, but
Sure.
him becoming NXT champion is just like, sure. I mean, he never became more NXT champion, obviously, but the idea of him being like NXT champion was like, yeah, I guess this is a guy you pick the world champion on. It makes sense within the context of this world. Like the conversations of Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara being champions. I'm like, yes, in the context of AEW, they make sense as champions. But in the context of wrestling, I would be like, I don't know, Jungle Boy is your world champion? Really?
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara is your world champion? Really? You know what I
Sure.
mean? You know what I'm saying? And that's my
I
fear with
do.
AEW.
I think that's a really good way to laying it up. And yeah, I mean, so then if we think it in that way,
Mm-hmm.
I think if we look at it in that way, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the people who do fit the box of world champion in AEW and in wrestling
Yeah.
are people who came in that way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Jay White.
Jay White.
Takeshita, even. Like
Mm-hmm.
Takeshita was accomplished in DDT. Now, I do give Tony Khan credit for some part of it, but I give Takeshita the credit just for being him and getting himself over, right? Like, it was just him having great matches and stuff that's gotten him over naturally. Um, in the context of like Adam Cole, for example, if he's ever world champion,
Yep.
well, he's done it everywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But and then you look at like the young people that he signed, Brian Pillman Jr. Yeah, right. Okay, buddy. Never gonna happen.
Is he developing Brian Pillman Jr.?
No, Daniel Garcia.
No, I don't think Brian Pillman Jr. To be fair doesn't really think. Daniel Garcia, I think. Well, no, I will disagree with Daniel Garcia because he booked Daniel Garcia to stay with JAS and not go with the BCC. Go with Brian Danielson.
Yeah.
Now
yeah,
get it.
true.
Now, granted, he is a heel. He is doing that for heel heat.
I think we would have been there
But
if he did go with it.
I think he would have made a star. He
Yep.
would have made a star.
I agree. Yeah, it's
Let's go through the roster page again.
I already have. It's not good. It's not good.
Britt Baker.
Lee Moriarty's just a guy.
I'll say Britt Baker. 100%.
Yeah, I guess.
You can't deny. You can't deny that Britt Baker has become a star in this company.
She has, for sure. I mean, oh boy. It's very sad when you look at it this way.
Yeah. It's like you start questioning. This is a fear that I've had in AEW for a long time, is that I am uncertain about some people as future world champions. Maybe 10 years from now, but it's like when you're talking about like Jericho, Omega, Adam Page is someone I would say maybe TK Puck, developed well, but he had a lot of help, obviously, and he had a lot of backing already. But that took a long time for Adam Page to get there. It feels like Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, Darby even feel like if you were talking about booking Adam Page as a world champion in like 2015, like 2015, 2016 Ring of Honor, 2017 2018 Ring of Honor, right? And you're just like, Yeah, maybe it makes sense in the world of this promotion, but I don't see it yet. He's not like a star, you know. And
Yeah, I get it.
you know what
I
I'm saying?
totally get it.
Yeah,
I think you nailed it, and I think that is something to look towards moving forward with them, is that making new stars in the realm of pro wrestling rather than just AEW is very important.
yeah,
There's obviously, and then here's the thing with the AEW, they have people to be that, right?
yes.
It's a matter of if they go that far, and
And how quickly they get to that point. And I don't think we've gone that quickly
no,
to get to
no,
this pillar back to this pillar promo where it shows that I don't think they're there yet. They're
no,
undoubtedly not there yet.
no. Tony Khan's destination, his roadmap for them to be there
Yeah.
doesn't line up with where they actually are.
Yes.
And I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I mean, for example, his next shot or his next project, I'm sure, will be Nick Wayne, who of course will debut later this year.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with him. You know?
Right? Like he feels like someone that naturally would be a guy
Hmm.
down the line for them. That's why they signed him before he even turned 18.
Yeah.
Um, and it's put hype around him that could be unfair. But to compare to, like, say, WWE,
Sure.
we'll bring WWE into this. Like, I don't think he's a proven product yet, but I am more likely to say, yeah, Braun Breaker's a world champion in a year than I probably will be Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, and that also has like the different issues of just like how WWE books and how they do things. You know what I mean? But
But my point is,
yeah, you feel
well,
more right with Braun Baker
like
being
Braun Breaker in the wrestling world as world champion, as opposed to Sammy Guevara,
I mean,
right? In a year, like I don't
yeah,
think Sammy Guevara is going to be world champion material ever. Truthfully, I just don't think that's him,
me neither.
and I think that's okay. Not everyone needs to be world champion,
Yeah, and I think
but you need people to be world champion.
that the question is ultimately like what are these people's like actual ceilings and
They're
calling
all
them
Austin Theory.
and yeah, and calling them four pillars so early on without knowing
Hurts.
what their actual ceiling was going to be.
Yeah,
Have these people hit their ceilings? I don't know. The
yeah.
promos need work. The promos need work. The talent is there. The work is there. But the promos need work. Are they getting enough promo time? Are they doing all this stuff? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and
I don't
this isn't us saying they have no shot,
know. And you could
but
be a
saying
huge
they're not
star without
there.
having great promos. I think this is a hot take. I think Mercedes Monet's promos are not that great. Um, that's maybe a hot take.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think a lot of people don't like her
No, she's
promos.
not going to promise, but she's a huge star. She's a money drawing star. We've already discussed her at length, but I think it's a tough spot. Austin Theory is undoubtedly the thing. Like it's like calling Sammy Guevara a pillar at the very beginning was a good idea, but it's like I don't think he is any higher than like a mid card wrestler fighting over the
Mm,
TNT title. I don't see him as a world
yeah,
champion. Maybe 10 years from now, maybe, but I don't.
right.
That's 10 years from now. You're a
Mhm.
long time away from there.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. And in 10 years from now, he's 40 years old. So
If 10 years from now he's 40 years old and he's out of his prime.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for some people that is their prime, but for the way he wrestles,
No, he's got maybe 5 years, 8 years, maybe.
yeah, it's tough. They have the options on the roster. They have the people. Um, but here's where Tony Khan gets lucky. He has Kenny Omega. He has Brian Danielson. He has John Moxley.
Yeah.
He has MJF, right? He has Jay White.
Hmm.
He has all these guys who are already ready to be world champion and can be world champion right now.
Yep.
Um, like that's why I thought Jay White was a must sign for them,
Yes.
because they got a young guy who is already a world championship contender. It's like if they signed Will Ospreay, it'd be the same thing, right? These guys are instantly levels above their pillars.
Yeah.
And I think lesser guys who have come from WWE are above the pillars. Adam Cole. I think Swerve's above the pillars, truthfully.
Yes.
And he's never been a world champion besides in MLW.
And they never
think he's
stop.
above them.
And the world of MLW never stops.
Right. Like, but that's my point. Like, some people just walk in and they have it.
Yeah.
These guys need to develop it.
Yes.
And you can get along without having maximum charisma.
Yeah.
That's what pro wrestling is.
Mm-hmm.
But they need some work to do. And you know what? I hope we watch that Fatal 4-Way.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope the rest of the way is great.
Well, the Fatal 4-Way is going to kill. It's going to be like 4 stars flat easily. You know, it's
gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about that. They're great wrestlers. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not bona fide main eventers.
Yeah, and it's definitely
main event world champions.
It's definitely been proven. Can they get there at some point? Still remains to be seen. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think Darby's the closest.
Agreed.
Like a few weeks ago, he had a great promo.
Agreed.
And I was like, yeah, okay. If he was the guy to dethrone MJF, I'd be like, yep, that makes sense.
You know who?
And then you have weeks that are like, eh.
You know which programs I wish were swapped? The Jericho Cole program swapped with MJF and the 4 pillars. I wish Cole came back and challenged MJF for the world title instead. And then the 4 pillars, maybe they did something with Jericho as a group or whatever.
That'd be interesting.
And
Jericho
hypes up Sammy Guevara as like the best of the 4 pillars, and the other 2 will like take umbrage with that for whatever reason.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing with Adam Cole. I think Adam Cole as a babyface feels like he's ready to be in that spot. And listen, Adam Cole's return match wasn't anything special. I thought it was kind of meh at best.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But I mean, he was coming back from a nearly career-ending injury and hadn't wrestled in pretty much a year. He's still 33. He's very young. He's very young.
He's only 4 years older than Sammy Guevara. 3 years older than Darby and Jay White.
Yeah, and he's been world champion everywhere he's went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a matter. And listen, a lot of people don't love Adam Cole, but he's still a world champion caliber guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's end the show.
Yeah, we've gone way longer than this discussion, but it was a good discussion.
Yeah, it was a good discussion. We don't talk about AEW every week, so
no,
people probably listen to this and they're like, "Wow, they hate AEW." It's like, no. We had to bring out the pillars because the pillars are great in-ring wrestlers.
Yeah, look, if we could talk about AEW every week, we would. You know, right. if there was an opening for us to talk about AEW every week, we would do it.
Yeah, we would. They have something to talk about on a weekly basis.
Give us the bag. We'll do it.
Last thing.
Yeah.
To bring us all together. Why do people think Ricochet is not a world champion?
I don't know. Why don't they think that?
Same reason we just talked about. He doesn't have that next side.
Yeah.
Yes, he's amazing in the ring.
Yes.
Right? He was the guy really that we're like, oh, he's the next prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And then he never went to the next level. Will Ospreay was that, but he went to the next level character building.
And he had to figure that out by changing his whole style. When is Jungle Boy? Will Jungle Boy, Darby, or Sammy change their style at some point? Jungle Boy is probably the only guy that really could, I think.
I think Darby's the guy that probably shouldn't change his style because that's Darby.
Agreed.
He's just got to keep going, right?
Yeah.
Because his TNT title run earlier this year was, again, that time where I was like, oh, shit, they do have something with him. He kind of feels like that guy. It's just consistency, I think, for him.
Yeah. Yeah, undoubtedly. All
right, let's wrap this up. Let's go to bed.
That was it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We thank you, everybody that's joined in on the live viewing. We'll thank everybody that's subscribed to the podcast feed wherever you get the podcast and listen to Ring Post Radio every single week. We appreciate all of you. We love all of you. If you are not subscribed to the Ring Post Radio podcast, please do right now. There's a QR code if you're watching the live stream. If not, do the other thing. Find it on Apple or Spotify or Google Play or wherever you want to find it. Follow us on Twitter at Scotty Wrestling. Follow me at Ryan Knightsey. Follow the whole show at Count Out Pod. Leave a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. We would greatly appreciate it. Helps us out immensely. Weirdly, a lot more than you think. It takes like no time at all. Leave a review. We would even appreciate that. But leaving just a 5-star review, that helps out so much more than you actually think and take no time at all for you to do. So we'd appreciate it. Scotty, match of the week. Any other plugs? Let's close up at the whole plug bag. Let's get through it. Let's get through the plugs. What do we got?
All right, plug it up. My match of the week.
Plug it up. Let's start skanking. Plug it up.
The Mahime versus ALK match from last week's Friday Cork and that finally got uploaded.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was excellent. Maybe one of the best matches of Himeku's career, specifically. And I walked away saying that should have probably been the retirement match. I thought it really was perfect for her. And then plugs. Tomorrow I will be live at 1:30 p.m. on the Fight Game Media Network YouTube channel to talk in depth about Stardom, All-Star Grand, Queendom. I'll go into like more so of the match to get a little bit deeper, talk about a full-on review, and I'll talk the next steps and stuff like that. So I'll have some guests on call in and share their thoughts. So that's always fun. Be there. And that's it for me. Thank you for having me always on this show. It's always a blast to do this.
Of course. I'm glad you're unretired.
Yeah, it was a great retirement.
I'm glad you Keiji Muto. I'm glad you Terry Funk.
I actually have an announcement tomorrow on the socials, so keep an eye out.
I'll get that scoop. I'll get that exclusive to myself later. But my plugs, my match of the week is actually gonna be the main event from Triple Mania. Triple Mania is one Matt Striker is off to say. It was the main event, El Hijo Vikingo versus Commander versus Rich Swann versus Swerve Strickland for the title. That was a really good match, really well worked. And there was a lot of cool spots between all four guys that I thought was very good. And Swerve was good. Swerve was great. Thank you everybody again for joining us for this episode of Ring Post Radio. We will see you next week. If I'm not mistaken, we will be regularly scheduled at our normal Sunday morning time. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think there is any other nonsense to be had. So we'll be back next week, April 30th.
Yeah. We'll give you a little bonus this week.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bonus. We're gonna get back on the Ryan hasn't seen anything, hasn't watched anything, whatever the fuck it's called. But we're gonna get you a WWE mock draft because that's content that we should probably do. WWE's not as exciting right now. They're doing Seth freaking Rollins versus Omos of all things, but we'll give you a little mock draft, a little mock drafty, and see who wins. We'll have a little vote, shit like that.
And that might be a podcast exclusive, so all more reason to subscribe to the podcast. Or that'll be Patreon. And if not the Patreon, then Ryan hasn't seen anything will be Patreon for sure.
Will be.
So subscribe to the Patreon again, patreon.com/countoutpod. I'll have another episode. Jesse, my fiance, and I will have another episode of Survivor Series, our Survivor recap and review podcast. You can follow along with the show, get Paramount Plus, follow along with the show with us and our thoughts. We'll have the next episode of that coming up tomorrow. Long awaited episode. We were sick for a whole week. I'm still kind of sick. The wine helped. But we'll have another episode of that talking about episode 4 and 5 of season 44. Coming out tomorrow on the Patreon. So we appreciate it. I think that's it for Ring Post Radio. We'll see you all next week. Till then, goodbye.